because we're going to do things a little differently today. And I like doing this when with homies that have podcasts, doing like a collaboration release. Yeah. So it goes out on both platforms. That way my listeners get to have a little bit of insight on how your show is and can maybe direct some traffic there and vice versa. And then also I think it's cool that I just get to sit here and hang out and you lead the show. I don't have to do shit, right?
Yeah. On a Sunday morning. I was trying to do it earlier, but you said you don't do shit before 10 o'clock. So
10 o'clock is early, bro.
Yeah.
You would have been here 5 if I said, does 5 work for you?
I probably would have asked you if you want to go do like work out in the back and then come and do a show.
Did you work out this morning already?
No.
Oh, okay. Fuck, dude.
No, not after yesterday. Yesterday was a beautiful day and it was worth sleeping in a little bit for that, once a year.
Yeah.
But no, I kind of took a break with my podcast and for a good reason. It's a keyword for you, a new endeavor.
Yeah.
And, it's been hard on me, but it's not the kind of hard that, like causing me aches and pains. It's more like growing. And I knew from that's a good process for me. And I needed to allocate a lot of time to that rather than kind of do podcasts and then spread myself thin everywhere and put out like bad content. And now I just want to come back. It's more about the come up because my past podcasts were a lot of identifying pain and where people were hurting and how they found this place, and where, now it's more about growing, like how to get out of that, how to get out the hole, lean into people that are stronger than you, that have been through everything that you're going through and really being vulnerable and just coming up stronger. And I really wanted to start it with you, coming up. And because you have a lot to play, with everything that's going on, not only in everybody else's lives, but more importantly, like myself. I think, like I always tell you, I was sent here.
Yeah.
I was sent here for a reason. Like, I am who I am. That's how we were raised. Like,
you were sent here by Josh Calvo to strangle me.
We're still working on that. Yeah, we're not nowhere near aborting mission. That's a mission. So, and hopefully the mission is going to lead to a submission. So, but no, Professor, it's been an honor, and I just wanted to share you with my people and have them, really get to know who you are, who I align myself with, and that way, there's a lot of people in my community that are probably just little bit ways away from just getting better, and they're just looking for something to pull on, and everybody's still stuck in the crap pot for some reason. We're in 2024, but a lot of those old habits, they tend to die hard. Alcohol consumption, just being in bad communities, hanging out with the wrong crowd, and like with the podcast, it's always been the feedback that I get with my podcast is people that are really timid and they really want to expose themselves and get better. And you're kind of the reason why that I wanted to do it with you. And motherfucker.
What?
Nothing. You're making me nervous, dude.
Bro. No. Bro. Do you want to just redo all that then?
No.
Oh, okay.
We can cut that out.
We can cut that.
Yeah, we'll cut that out. But okay. No. So all of my listeners, who I have in front of me is Professor Greg Anderson. He's the head owner of JJ. He also runs Guns and Geese. A lot of my friends that have spoken to me about him had asked how I met him, and it was a coincidence because he had just gotten fired that time that I met him. So we're going to take it back and we're going to start, with that because, it's really important with things that are going on within our government.
Yeah.
Then, a lot of people ask me too why I don't work for the government anymore. And it was because of people that, like you, that gave me the power to just say, fuck you, I don't need this. Harder shit is better earned. And we're better living because of it.
Well, in the government positions, I'm sure we'll get into this, but The government position is something that is going to perpetually keep you just above comfortable, right? But you're never going to grow past that.
Yeah.
Like you're always going to be paycheck to paycheck. You're never going to be able to create a life where you ascend past where you currently are because the system's not set up to do that. You have to go out on your own and strive and build something or create a skill that is needed within the community. You have to push harder than you find people pushing that are attached to that government paycheck.
Yeah.
And this isn't me digging at cops or firefighters or first responders or whatever it is. Like there's a lot of good people in these different government built industries, but as an individual man, and bro, that was like half of my life. I signed up for the military the day I turned 18. And then I didn't leave law enforcement until I was 39 years old. So, I mean, I went from basically leaving high school until literally 3 years ago, I was attached to a government paycheck, government benefits. And that just was kind of the natural progression of my life. And it's not until I was forced to step away from that and kind of analyze my life from a different perspective and then start weighing my options of where do I go from here? What's next? What do I need to do to build this business into something that's financially feasible to raise a family on? That all these other things started coming into play.
Yeah.
Now, through that process of being in the military, special operations, law enforcement, I obviously learned a lot about grit and perseverance and physical fitness, goal setting, seeing things through. Like there was a ton of value in government service, and there is for a lot of people. I'm not saying it's bad, but what I am saying is I think it should be a period of your life, especially for people that are younger, to learn about structure, learn about discipline, learn about how to be part of an operational team. But eventually you have to fly the coop and you have to leave that behind and you have to step into your own realm and become a leader of your own life. And the crazy thing is, once you do that, you start to realize, oh, this life isn't about how much money I make. It's about my own personal freedom and my own personal sovereignty. And while I do make more money now than I did as a police officer, I also have so much more freedom and autonomy over my own life that I tell people all the time, I wouldn't go back to a government dictated 9 to 5 for $1 million a year salary. I wouldn't even consider it, because all the other good that I've built and things that are happening in my life would not be feasible to continue to strive towards and continue to build off of if I were to put myself back into that rat race.
Yeah.
And so,
No, and I saw that. I mean, I was not a cop, nor was I a firefighter, but I was still a public servant.
yeah.
And they come in all levels. You know, obviously for some reason, municipal councils and mayors hold cops to a higher standard than the everyday, community service worker. And I kind of always had negative thoughts about that, because we're always, a public service position is supposed to be something that's a hardship, right? It's supposed to be an inconvenience on your part. That's why you're serving the public. And you and I see it that way. Everybody that's in government don't see it like that. They tend to hold themselves to their own standards, raise themselves up, and then bring people up that only align with them. And they call it the good old boys club. Mm-hmm. And then if you're like us, right, we want to excel in everything that we're doing, you get that, hey, calm your ass down. Like, you're doing too much. Like, calm down.
Well, as you know, bro, the truth about government service and government workers is they can take 2 hours of work and make it become an 8-hour workday. And that's common.
Yeah.
And it's common in every single aspect of government employee or of being a government employee. And again, like, even as like a cop or a firefighter, you say you don't get paid for what you're doing. You're getting paid for what you might have to do. That's what you hear that a lot, right? And it's like, and there's an element of truth to that, right? Like, you may be a firefighter that just sits in your bunk all day and you're collecting a paycheck, but that night you might be asked to run into a fucking burning building and carry a child out. So it's like, I get that too, right? Yeah. But what I saw personally is government work. Okay, yeah, you may be called to do hard things here and there may be times where you get to shine and actually feel like you are a hero for your community and you're out there doing good. But more often than not, you're twiddling your thumbs, you're bored, you're disgruntled, and that culture really permeates everybody inside of government service. And you're seeing 2-hour lunch breaks, and you're seeing people park their car and just go watch Netflix. And there's a million, I mean, we could talk for 2 hours why that's happening. I'm not saying that's all part of like, oh, it's just lazy people. And I'm not saying that. It's culture, it's leadership. Some people are apprehensive to go out and do their job because you see cops getting hemmed up for being proactive these days. Like there's two sides to the story. But what I started to feel is it's like the day-to-day grind for what I'm doing is not going to pay off in the long run. I'm going to continue down this path where I'm barely getting ahead and I'm constantly in a financial struggle because, dude, a lot of government service, like, hey, $100,000 a year with benefits. And it's like, that sounds good on paper, but try and fucking raise a family on that in this area. Like you can't even buy you can't even buy a house on $100,000 a year job anymore, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's like, you're like in a hamster wheel and you're constantly running, but you're not getting anywhere. On top of that, I saw a lot of things that I was no longer aligned with. Like people would say one thing behind closed doors and then publicly they would put on a show. And that happened. I mean, as you know, my story, I spoke out against the COVID lockdowns and I can't tell you how many people behind closed doors, like, Greg, we agree with you. Like everything you're saying is correct. It's not that we don't think what you're taking a stand on is correct and morally and ethically straight. It's just, we're bound by policy that we can't do those things. And it's like, oh, so you're literally telling me that policy that is fucking created by a bunch of bureaucrats dictates our morals and our ethics? Fuck you. I'm out, bro.
It's wild because if you try to go deep into it, you're not going to find anybody. Like there's deep in the realms of the fucking chambers. There's nobody that's really in charge of shit.
I know.
Like anything.
Yeah.
And it's all, I don't know if it's just fear-based or, comfortable, right? You get a comfortable salary. You can work overtime. You build seniority. You can do whatever the fuck you want, and like I was stuck in that too. And like how they were agreeing with you, I wanted to be a fucking shop steward, to try and change things. Mm-hmm. Like my perspective, here's my thinking on how things should be done, how we should be compensated. And everybody would be like, oh yeah, you're the man, you can do that. But after all, now I sit back and look at it, I was only put in that spot because I was the only crazy one that would be able to talk and say what I want to say what they want to say.
Yeah.
They did not want to be the face of that.
Dude, it's crazy how I've seen a lot of men have a lot of courage in scenarios where like their own physical safety is at risk, right? As a police officer or as a ranger or as a contractor, like confronting real danger doesn't seem to be something that the men that I served with were necessarily averse to. But stepping up to your boss and saying, hey, I don't fucking think that that's right. Yeah. Or I'm not going to do that because that violates my moral or my ethical code. It's like people are paralyzed by fear in those moments. And it's like, dude, I've seen men that are willing to confront real violence on the streets of Ramadi. And then as soon as you're back at base and your boss says, hey, I'll tell you what, if I see you guys do this or that, and people, and they just fucking bend a knee and grovel. And it's like, as soon as you threaten a man's livelihood or a man's paycheck, bro, a lot of people cease to show any type of courage and they're paralyzed by that fear. And it's crazy to me. And don't get me wrong, dude, like your financial stability, it's a big thing.
Yeah.
Especially if you have commitments and you have kids and all the things that we have. I understand it is important. but it shouldn't supersede your ability to show courage. And it does for a lot of people. And that's why behind closed doors, everybody's bitching about their boss. Everybody's bitching about the government. Everybody's bitching about having to pay taxes. Everybody's bitching about everything. Very few people will actually be vocal about what they're not happy about or actually take a stand and draw a hard line and push back. And if you're that type of person, you're not congruent with government service, because it's just like you said. How far do you have to dig before you can find out who the fuck's in charge? Yeah. Who's making decisions? Even my fucking chief of police told me, he's like, Greg, this came from high up. Well, motherfucker, where's it come from? Because you're the chief.
Yeah.
All right. So either tell me where it came from, or take ownership of the words you're saying and make them your own.
Yeah.
But no, people won't do that, dude.
Yeah. I know it's kind of wild that we're starting it off like that, but I think for my listeners, obviously, because back in the islands, government job is like the number one job, right?
Because it's fucking comfortable, bro.
Yeah. And if you put government and island life together, it's super, super comfortable, and it's secured. And I was stuck on that mindset, I wanted to do certain things out here in America. It didn't pan out. So government work was the next best thing that I saw back home. So I was like, man, it's kind of hard to get into it here, which I got into it, and now it's been getting easier, right? And for the most part, I got really comfortable, and then I started speaking up more. I started kind of diminishing my mindset a little bit because of who I was surrounded with, not agreeing with me or not willing to walk up with me. So I started feeling like a limited self-belief. And then I started telling myself, like, bro, no, like you have the right to believe whatever you want to believe. Say what the fuck you want to say. And from there on, we moved up here and I got another job with Linwood, and I didn't know that it was more liberal than fucking the city of Auburn. And it just drove me wild. And I was like, wow, this is crazy. And thanks to the fucking gym and hanging out with you and seeing what you've gone through and how you built yourself after, it's like, we can have so much fun being fucking poor and working and striving. We have more time to think of better things, to create new things, try, something different, to try and level yourself up. And it's been so rewarding. And for my people, that's why I just let them know, like, even my brother, there's still a couple guys that work in government that call me, like, hey, how's that going? How's this thing going for you? And I was like, bro, it's hard, but it's fulfilling.
It's hard, but it's fulfilling. And dude, isn't that applicable to every single aspect of your life?
Yeah.
It's funny because Jenny and I were literally talking about this morning when we woke up. And I forget how it came up, but it's like being overweight is easy. It's easy to be overweight. Yeah. It's easy to be out of shape. And it's actually comfortable, right? Dude, getting in shape is one of the hardest things that you will ever do in your entire life.
Yeah.
And it doesn't happen by accident. It's, it must be nice. That guy has good genetics. Like, oh, no, none of that shit, dude. If you see a man, especially that's our age, right? You see a guy in his 40s who's in shape, it paints a picture of who that person is. It tells you a story about him. It lets you know so many things that are going on behind closed doors.
Yeah.
His ability to implement discipline and make good choices and resist temptation and on and on and on. So the physical side of your being really paints a picture of how well you strive to actually operate outside of the zone of comfort. 99% of Americans live inside of that zone of comfort, and that's why everybody's sick, everybody's fat, everybody's weak, and everybody's literally on a downhill trajectory.
Yeah.
And dude, that same exact mindset is what permeates society and everything. Nobody wants to go get uncomfortable. Nobody wants to wake up and strive to be better. They just want to be in that hamster wheel because it's crazy, dude. They're literally caged animals, but they're happy in that cage.
Yeah.
And because they're happy in that cage, they don't need to strive to climb out of it.
You don't even have to move the wheel.
Yeah, you just stand in it. You just fucking stand in it, bro.
2 weeks you get paid.
Yeah.
You know, I'm glad you kind of touched on leader, because I call him, you know, when I refer to somebody as boss, I'm referring to them as, you know, one, you're standing on business. You know, the kids nowadays would like that, standing on business. But it's a term of endearment to me. You know, like I use that like when I refer to boss or sir. You know, it means greater. It's not. I don't know why people find that disrespectful. He doesn't like me calling him boss, so he's my partner. He said he's my partner, but I love him so much, man. I asked him one day. I said, "Hey, do the people ever freak out when you talk to them on the phone and then they see who you are actually in person?" And he's like, "You know what? I don't give a fuck about that." It's like, but I know one thing: when people see somebody that takes care of themselves, they want them to go fucking bat.
Yeah, of course.
They want me to go bat for them because I take care of myself. I take care of my body. I look fucking clean. I mean business. That means I'm persistent. I have patience. I take the time to take care of a lot of different things. That this is just another thing that I'm going to fucking slam dunk.
Bro, if you take any aspect of your life and you're discussing a business deal, or you're discussing something, let's say you're discussing something with a physician over the telephone, or any aspect of your life, and then you meet up with that person and he looks like Chris Farley. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Tommy boy.
Yeah, immediately. And this is not coming from a place of like, this is coming from a place that is rooted in reality. As soon as you see that person, now you know everything that they said to you has to be scrutinized and questioned a little deeper, because they don't believe in themselves. They don't care about themselves. They lack discipline. They lack self-respect. Like, bro, if you look at yourself in the mirror and you do a self-assessment of who the fuck you're looking at, and I do this, I'll look in the mirror and it's like, ask questions about yourself. Are you overweight? Are you happy with what you see? Does something need to change? Do you need to be better? Those people aren't on the journey of bettering themselves in any capacity if they walk in looking like that. And so it has to make you now second guess so many things about your interactions with that person. Yeah. And I know that sounds kind of shallow, and some people may think it's like, oh, you know, like just because he's not in shape doesn't mean he can't be good at this or be good at that. But my perspective on mind, body, spirit is the three-legged stool, right? I've talked about it on the show a lot.
Yeah.
Mind, body, and spirit. And obviously it's like a triathlete. They always say a triathlete is good at two events and sucks at one, right? But guess what? To be a triathlete, the one that he sucks at usually has to put the most work in. And so it forces you to make your weaknesses your strength. And I look at the same thing with mind, body, and spirit. Like, okay, it's learning how to make your body strong is something you can do, but you can still be spiritually empty. You can still be a spiritually shitty person, right? Or you can become really, really intelligent and feed your brain a lot of powerful information and then sit on the couch and eat Doritos all the time. You're never going to become your potential unless you find some way of balancing all three of those. And so, like, you see someone that is just clearly neglecting one of those, it tells a story about them.
Yeah.
And we know it to be true.
And, you know, honestly, from what I learned, right, and trying to balance all of those, it's like you need one, and it's all through my partner, man, that I learned a lot, and it's just being vulnerable. Like, everybody could be vulnerable, right? But sometimes we, like you said, you could do that, but still be a shitty person, you know? But when you look in the mirror, as you said, and you really ask yourself questions, like ask yourself questions that like burn, like, you know, you're burning yourself. You know, nowadays I look at the mirror because I want to see if I'm fucking, there's a booger in my nose or something like that. Because
yeah,
my mindset is already somewhere where it needs to be to start. There's a checklist of, you know, shit getting done. There's already a calendar of all of that. But the main thing the main catalyst for that was being vulnerable.
Yeah.
And just really unloading everything that burned, not only identifying it through the mirror, but also opening up to my partner. After I realized that, man, he loves me. He's a great leader and he wants me to win. So I just need to like shut the fuck up, listen, and just fucking trust the process.
Yeah, just fucking lean into it, dude.
Yeah. And I don't know why I fucking asked him, but I think everything happens for a reason. And it was here during fight night. And I don't know, I said, I'm going to ask Mike this question. And I just went outside, bro, how do we do this? And he's like, who the fuck does shit part-time? Like, we don't do shit part-time. It's all in or don't fucking show up. So I was like, Roger that. And it's been a hell of a ride since January. That was January fight night.
It's already been 7 months or 8 months now, huh?
It's been real, but that's why I took the break from the podcast, and I really, really wanted to focus on all the things that he's been sharing with me and how he's been coaching me up. And I wanted to highlight too, like from my perspective, like what I had to let go of in order to receive all of that. I mean, I've heard the word affirmation, but I've never had to wake up every morning to read my affirmation that I've created for myself to start the day. You know, and now when I think about it, I was like, this is what the people need. They need guidance, right? Like I needed guidance. I found something that works for me. It's not going to work for everybody, but just like what we do, right? It's going to help the people that need help, and then they can find their own way of helping everybody else. You know, and that's why I really love to share it. And that's why, like I said, I really wanted you to kind of help me jumpstart the podcast going back, because now we're going to be talking about the growth.
Yeah.
We're still going to be identifying pain along the way, along our journey. There's still things that are still in the deep crevices of our brain and our heart that still hurt.
Well, and bro, that's because growth and pain, those are one of the same. Like the journey of growth comes with pain. There's no way around it.
Yeah.
And I forget, it might have actually been Mike. It's like the bigger you get, the bigger your problems get too. Like you're never going to just one day arrive and it's like, fuck yeah, I made it, bro. I'm in shape and I have a lot of money and my relationship with my family is perfect and fuck yeah, we're here. Like as you strive in one aspect of your life, like you're probably feeling this, like you're really leaning into business and learning everything you can from Novak, right?
Yeah.
But through that process, have some other aspects of your life been neglected? Have you not been as present for your family, or have you not been sleeping as much? Is your jiu-jitsu maybe taking a hit? Like there's always a balancing act, and that's not a bad thing. That's just the reality of moving the needle forward.
Yeah.
And so like I think a lot of people think that we're chasing a moment in which you're going to arrive. And it's like, oh, fuck yeah, here we are. But I think you got to get that out of your fucking head right now.
Yeah.
Now, there are benchmarks that you make. And once you make them, it's like, you can feel like weight off your shoulders. And one of those benchmarks for us from a financial standpoint was literally once the gym started covering all of our bills, it's like, oh, okay. Because, dude, financial stress will haunt you.
Yeah.
And it will fucking get its hooks in you. And it'll literally, like, people want to talk about depression and, like, all the stuff that affects veterans. You know what affected me way worse than anything I saw in combat was going into debt. And fucking putting all of our fucking expenses on credit cards. And then you add all those credit cards up and you're like, oh, fuck, dude, like, I'm $40,000 in the hole or whatever it is. That shit starts to eat your soul because the stress of being in a bad financial place, it's 24/7.
Yeah.
There's never like, oh fuck, dude, like a hard workout or whatever. Like it's usually a moment, a period of time. Whereas that stuff, it's like a monkey on your back that you can't fucking shake.
Yeah.
So I'm here to tell you, once you put in enough effort to where the things you're building, the things you're creating are now, I don't even care about necessarily making money, but you're now comfortable. Bro, what that does is it frees a lot of that stress up and it actually empowers you to move into the next phase. But the whole reason of going off on that tangent is there's no way around stress, pain, discomfort, frustration, Like the more you go out on your own, the more you're going to feel those things.
Yeah.
But that's a byproduct of growth because growth requires difficulty. There's just no other way around it. And then once you understand that formula, the pain and the hardships, you can actually start to find comfort in them, right? And this is a perfect jiu-jitsu analogy.
Yes, sir.
Because when you're putting your knee on somebody's chest and they've never had that brown belt will pressure, what does it do to them? It puts them in a state of fight or flight and it makes them panic, right?
Yeah.
But you do that to fucking Mark, who's been doing jiu-jitsu for 25 years, it's almost like he doesn't care. And it's like...
That's his resting position.
That's what I'm saying, you know? And so like you can make painful positions your resting position if you've put the reps in and you've learned about yourself and you learn how to deal with your emotions and your frustration and your anxiety. You deal with those things. Now positions that were previously extremely painful to you are kind of like, oh, I got this.
Yeah. You got it, or you learn how not to get there.
Or you learn how not to get there. Or you learn, if you do find yourself there, do you have some tools in your tool belt to help you get out of there?
Yep.
All those things. And bro, that's why jiu-jitsu mirrors life.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Old man coworker of mine said it perfectly. He said, you working next to Mike, it's like rolling around with Greg every day.
Yeah.
It's like rolling with a black belt every day. And that one hit deep. I was like, fuck. That's first day too. That was my first day in office. And he said that, just remember, working with Mike is like rolling around with Greg Anderson every fucking day. And I feel that. There's days where I'm going to get multiple taps and the wins are like, fuck, he only tapped me twice. Good.
Yeah.
Like we're making progress. You know, we're going for 0 taps.
Uh-huh.
You know? So, and a lot of why like I like to share stuff like that is because one, you know, from the islands, we don't really have people like that. And then when we do, they've probably been part of the government and that's how they've established themselves, you know, again.
When you say
right?
we don't have people like that, meaning people that are just motivated to go out there and try and get after it?
My words, yes. You know, and if they do, they don't share stuff, right? Like before, prior to social media and everything, right? People had plans, people were successful, but they were very secret with their movement, right? And then cue in Mike and Rachel Novak, where they tell me like, I can give my fucking playbook to anybody else and they're so fucking lazy and not driven as hard as we are that they're not going to perform to our level.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, thank you for sharing.
Yeah, there's no secrets.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, you hear Andy Frisella talk about that all the time.
Yeah. There's no secrets. And then now I'm feeling like, oh yeah, like I didn't come in there thinking it's instant gratification. Like I knew from the get-go that it's just going to be hard and it's always challenging. And every week there's something new. I get like this past week, he gave me permission to fuck shit up. And he's like, you playing too close, you know, you're being too safe. He's like, you're never going to learn. He's like, lose money. That's how you're going to fucking learn to make money. But if you're going to play it safe, you're never going to fucking win. So you have my permission to fuck shit up. I was just like, Roger that.
Roger that, yeah.
And then from there, it just like leveled up again. I moved up another notch. You know, I got another stripe. We don't do stripes, but everybody knows what I'm fucking talking about when I say that. You know, another one that I love is you're rolling around with wolves. We're not going to fucking give you a piece of meat. Motherfucker, you want to eat? Get in there and fucking bite.
Yeah, get in there and earn it.
Yeah.
And bro, like, it's funny because, again, how jiu-jitsu mirrors life. Like, I had to have that talk with some people yesterday, particularly one guy who I'll talk to you about it off the air because I'm not here to air anybody's dirty laundry out. But I can give you the formula, just like Mike said to you. The formula's here. There is no secret. And there was a guy talking to me yesterday about how, you know, it's not the jiu-jitsu journey. It's just not going super well. And I haven't been making time for it. And I'm not here very often. And then you'll be shocked to hear he's not gaining the benefits from it. And it's like, I say, yeah, motherfucker, you're not implementing the discipline to show up 3 nights a week.
Yeah.
And you put jiu-jitsu on the back burner, then it puts you on the back burner. And you're not going to get the benefits from it. Like the formula is very, very, very simple. Show up and put in work. And I know like all these entrepreneurs like fucking Hermosi and like they talk about that. And it sounds like such a oversimplified message. Like, oh, whoever your top competitor is, work twice as hard as them. And it's like, and then you'll beat that person. It's like, okay, that on its surface, it makes sense. But what exactly does that mean?
Yeah.
And for people in most different lines of business, that doesn't really make sense, because what do you have to do to outwork someone in the realm of real estate or in the realm of medicine or in the realm of opening up a shop as a mechanic? Like, what does that really look like? But in jiu-jitsu, it's easy. It's like roll, don't sit out during rolls, work harder than the people that are sitting on the bench. If this guy's showing up 4 days a week and you want to be better than him, you got to show up 6 days a week. And but it's that same mentality and it's that same approach.
Yeah.
And people are fucking, even people that have touched the magic and have felt the magic, some of them are still reluctant to really lean into it. And then the results a year later aren't what they hoped they'd be. And it's fucking, like I always say, duh.
Yeah.
You know?
No, it's wild. Like yesterday, I had a couple kids ask me, they're like, why didn't you get a black belt? And I'm like, because you're still a white belt. Like, that's a white belt question.
Yeah, it's a white belt question.
Yeah, that's like you asking yourself, like, am I going to get my blue belt today if I show up?
Yeah.
Because it's promotion day.
Yeah.
And it's like, I just told kids, that's like, this is a long journey. Like, it's only the beginning of the journey. And every time you get leveled up, you start another journey. It's not a clean slate, but you're bettering everything that you've done. Now you're just 10xing everything.
Well, and I look at black belt as like, everybody's black belt's also a little different, right? Because it's like, who are you? What do you bring to the table? What have you given to the team? What are you going to contribute to the team afterwards? But more importantly than those questions, the thing that I love about brown belt is a position where you can do all of those things. Like, and you're doing a lot of them. You're giving to the community. You're showing up. You're teaching classes. You're empowering kids. You're doing a lot of the things that you will continue to build off of as black belt, right? But the one thing that I think is super important for brown belt is it still allows you to be introspective and focus on you and build you. And if you need to step back from coaching, or you need to change your schedule here or there so you can build will and focus on will, the brown belt is a good place to do that. I think you can bounce back and forth between those two roles pretty much seamlessly, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, once you're a black belt, all eyes are on you now.
Yeah.
You're expected to be a leader in the academy. And as you step into that position, now it's less about you and it's more about the team. And it's more about growing jiu-jitsu. And it's more about helping develop kids. And it's hard to step back and go the other way once you're black belt.
It's wild that you say that, because that's everything that I felt.
Yeah.
Like, you can go white to purple and, I'm fucking smashing. I'm going to do this. I'm going to fucking get this many submissions. I'm going to knee and belly this motherfucker. And then I get to brown belt, and it's like, it's just so funny how you said it, because with my belt and then in my life, it's kind of like the starting over phase.
Yeah.
Right? Like, this is what we've accomplished. Nothing memorable about it. But brown belt, we can reestablish ourselves, get proper footing and gain traction and start, changing the trajectory.
Yeah.
And I feel it, with now kind of sucking almost to like the kids and the blue belts, that are just smashing. It's like, now I have to earn this shit. Like, I'm not going to give you a tap, but motherfucker, like, this row is a reflection of me, not you at the moment. Like, I'm learning a lot right now. Like, I got to either fucking start watching more fucking Buchecha videos or something. But it gives you time to really establish. And that's why I've been playing a lot of bottom and trying to work on sweeps. And I get tapped, I get smashed, I get put in mother's milk. But that's all part of mitigating those hard.
Yeah.
We're in times of hardship. And we have to learn how to mitigate those. And what a way to fucking do that. and how it mirrors life is so fucking, it's fun. It hurts. And like you said, part of growth is a lot of pain.
And bro, I'd like to get your perspective on this, because even at black belt, right? Like, my overall focus is to build this team and build these people. It's not about building me anymore. However, you still get built as a byproduct of that.
Yeah.
And so I still get to reap the benefits of everything that jiu-jitsu gives you, even though my journey is not about me anymore. Like, I don't care about becoming like, oh dude, how can I become a good competitor for 2025? Like, I don't really care. I'll probably compete a time or two because I just tend to do that. And more for just showing people, hey, you can go out there and you can seek that and see what it feels like and experience that, right?
Yeah.
But lately, I have intentionally been playing like more vulnerable positions. Like, let's let this guy get me in a Kimura and see what he can do with it. Let's let this guy pass my guard and see what he can do with it. And that's actually tough for me, because like you know how Dan and I are.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, you're gonna have to earn it, and that's why I like going hard. And it's built the culture for what it is, right? And it's important. And I'll talk to you next. Remind me to say, because me and Jordan had a good conversation about building gym culture. But what I've noticed is I've had people like at the end, the bell goes off and they get this big smile on their face. Like, fuck yeah, it's the first time I've ever passed your guard. And it's like, uh-oh. And again, I don't know what the right answer is, because on one hand, it's good to let these people work new positions or whatever it may be. But now I just gave you a false sense of security.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So it's like, oh, next time I'm going to have to let you have it. And you want to know what's very interesting? Daniel said this to me yesterday. He goes, bro, that's why one of my rules that I've set for myself is I will not roll with the same person twice in one night. I will not do that. He goes, because the first round you'd go with someone tells a story. And he goes, and we both know how that story plays out and what happened or what didn't happen. He goes, but regardless of how it plays out, one or both of the people there's probably something to get back.
Yeah.
Right?
Like, there's intention on that second roll.
Yeah, there's intention on the second roll. And Dan said, I found that intention is actually not good for my jiu-jitsu, because it's not coming from a place of pure jiu-jitsu. Yeah. It's coming from a place of ego.
You're tapping into the dark side.
Yeah. And I thought that's pretty profound.
Yeah. It's way different than when it's just like four of you guys back in the day.
Yes, of course.
Right? Because
if we got
mindset, everything, that was different.
It was different, and we also had what we had.
Yeah.
So if I wanted to get 10 rounds in on a Friday night, I'm going with Dan and Andy and Mark 3 times each. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just what we had available. But now that we have 50 people here on a Friday night, why would someone be like, hey, you want to get another round in? We all know why you want to get another round in.
Yeah. I ain't going to name any names, but I'm pretty sure we could just stare at each other and know who. They may or may not be doing privates.
So Jordan said the other day, or yesterday, I was talking to him about it. And because as the gym grows and as more and more people start to invest into jiu-jitsu, you're going to have some people that didn't grow up as athletes. They don't have a fighter's heart.
Yeah.
They're not a physically dominant man. But guess what? If they're still here putting work in every single day, that's as valuable as a teammate as you could be, right?
Yeah.
And because I never, ever, ever want to encroach on a McDojo approach to jiu-jitsu. Like, if you're a fucking electric blue belt or an electric purple belt and you put your hands on someone, I want them to be like, oh, that fucking gym is gnarly.
Yeah.
Right? But the other side of the coin is we also need to fucking recognize and celebrate people that are consistent, bringing good energy to the mats, are good teammates. And obviously they have to learn jiu-jitsu. You're not going to get a blue belt if you don't know what the fuck's going on. But everybody doesn't have to be a world beater, right? And one thing that Jordan said yesterday was very interesting. He's like, listen, everybody on the team doesn't have to be a world beater. He goes, but you need the ratio of guys that are gnarly to guys that are not to always be heavy on the side of the dudes that are gnarly. He goes, you know why? Because the dudes that aren't gnarly, if they're if they're on the mats with all those guys that are, then a byproduct of that is, well, they are too then, right? If they're willing to go out there and fucking get strangled by all these gnarly dudes, then that keeps the culture alive of who we are and what we do. He goes, but if the ratio ever fucking switches to where the majority of the team is not those hardened fucking like warriors, he goes, now that's what's going to start to degrade the culture as a whole. I thought that was pretty fascinating.
It is, and he's 100% right. But there are gyms that are like that,
and we can't have that.
No, that's not us.
Yeah, you can't have that.
And
because it'll destroy everything that we are.
Yeah. And speaking of the gym, you started this. When did you guys open upstairs?
February 2015.
2015.
So very beginning of 2015. So I mean, fuck, bro, we're coming up on 10 years.
And that was just, you initially started just for you to work out with.
So I'll tell you, I worked for a law enforcement agency down in California, and I ended up leaving over, again, personal differences. A lot of the things that we talked about earlier, just inept leadership. And I didn't feel like I could give that agency any more of my life energy. And I said, hey, I already own a building with CrossFit in it. Let's add a second story and put jiu-jitsu in it. And out of the gates, as soon as I just put that idea out into the world, bro, I had literally over 100 people that were like, I can't wait till you open, dude. I can't wait till you open. And I started running the numbers, and I was like, oh, fuck, dude. This is going to be a viable business that I could actually live off of almost right out of the gates. and then there was my first lesson on talk is cheap. And most people write checks that they don't fucking cash, dude. And sure as shit, we got 15 students for the first year. And it was like, oh, fuck, man. And I didn't want to go back into police work. I didn't want to. I thought, like, dude, I just got my black belt. So I got my black belt literally a month or December of 2014. I got my black belt. And then I opened the gym up a few months later. And I was like, all right, this is the next journey. Fucking Joe Assist black belt, opened a new gym. Everything's going to happen now. And, everything didn't happen. Didn't come fucking close to happening. Between 2015 and 2017 was a 2-year process of me trying to make this place work. And Jenny and I went more into debt those 2 years than the rest of our life combined. Borrowing money, credit cards, because, and fucking thank God I built the gym on a lot that I owned.
Yeah.
Because if we had to pay rent to a landlord, this gym never would have succeeded. And I think about that with all these new jiu-jitsu gyms. It's like, fuck, bro. It takes a long time to build the momentum, to have the clientele to actually become financially viable. And if you had a $4,000 a month rent overhead or something, it's hard to comprehend how people can make it through that initial phase of growing the business. Yeah. But one thing I've learned now is the reason that initial phase was so hard for me is because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. And I knew what I was doing in the realm of jiu-jitsu. Like, I could teach you half guard. I could teach you butterfly guard. I had good even back then, dude, I had good jiu-jitsu. Joe didn't give me a black belt because I had mediocre jiu-jitsu. I know I had good jiu-jitsu. But having good jiu-jitsu is one piece of the pie.
Yeah.
The biggest piece of the pie is culture building. When people walk in here, do they feel empowered? Do they feel excited? Do they want? Is this a space they want to share time and energy with? Do they want to bring their wives here? Do they want to bring their families here? All these little things that what I thought jiu-jitsu is how do I build the toughest motherfuckers I can? And on one hand, it was pretty cool that we had a savage room of people, but there's no longevity in that. And so I had to learn a lot about the business side of things, the cultural side of things. I had to learn about how to be the leader for what these people are seeking, right? And people are seeking leadership. If you're walking through a door into the unknown in a place like this, there's a part of you that does want leadership and guidance.
Yeah.
And it might even be on a subconscious level. And here's the thing too. I'm not saying one thing I always say is a caveat that's important to say is leadership is fluid, right? Just because I'm the leader of people when they're sharing the mats with me, there's a very high probability that in a different scenario in life, they could be leading me. And that's good, right? I think that that's a good thing to point out because it's not like my fucking ego is like, oh, fucking I'm the king of this cult.
It's like what you say about jiu-jitsu, it mirrors everything, you know? Like you're building motherfuckers with jiu-jitsu and making them tougher. In return, they're getting tougher for you, and now you got to enhance your process. You got to start optimizing your shit, start leveling up.
And that whole process was long and arduous. And bro, you saw it. Like the gym started to prosper. Maybe it was you. Maybe I keep talking about fucking culture, and it's just Will showed up and everything came came together for me.
When I entered, you know, I already said, you know, how I knew this was gonna be my gym is because of the way I was treated, like how I was smashed. That's when I knew this is my fucking
Yeah,
gym.
because you said you had success against somebody.
It was Jack.
Jack, that's right.
Yeah, I threw his ass, and then everybody looked at me, and I was on top, side control. And I was just looking around the room, and everybody like looked at me because it was loud. I was just like, "Fuck, I'm gonna get my ass whooped."
And then people were like, "All right,
yeah,
all right, hey,
Tyler.
who's this visiting motherfucker, dude?"
Yeah, I got Tyler, I got Michael J. Brady, and I already knew the culture. I know how that is because I come from a jiu-jitsu, you know, where everybody is like that.
Yeah,
if somebody comes in hard, hey, it's gonna be one of us. But let's see.
Yeah,
you know, or maybe he's just an asshole that came from another gym because they didn't like him, and maybe we're just gonna keep scooting him down the road, right?
Yeah.
Because if you don't find that any gym vibes with you, or you know, if you don't match the culture, you're gonna keep seeking that.
Yeah.
Right until you really, like you said, look in the mirror and identify yourself. You're gonna know how to play into where you belong.
Although I don't think anybody got bad vibes from you. You know what I mean?
I mean,
they just said, "All right, this guy's here to fight."
Yeah, and then after that, the second day I walked upstairs, everybody was already upstairs, and I was still kind of shaky because everything's new, but I just had to loosen it up. So I turned the corner from the stairs, like, "What's up, faggots?" Everybody started laughing. I said, "Fuck, more and more, this is my people."
Yeah.
Man. You know, and it's not only that; it's the Jay Inslee picture that was on the window too. You know?
Oh yeah, it's like he's peeking through our window to see if we're training when you're supposed to be closed down.
Yeah, and that was the height of the pandemic.
And that's
too.
still up there too.
Yeah, but you know, like that's when I knew I get sent to places where I belong, is because, like how I work with you and how I work with my partner now, we don't butt heads.
Yeah.
Like you can be the strong, fierce motherfucker, and I'll be driving the boat from the back.
Yeah.
You can stand in the front and tell me where we're going, and I'll know where to steer, when to steer, you know, and kind of keep you doing your business, and I'll be a supportive cast. I'm not, you know, and like it just all worked out for some reason because you were starting everything. There's already a kids program, and you were starting to kind of revive it.
Yeah.
And we just walked in at the right time, and I came from the right place where I got experience, you know, coaching kids, and it was still pretty new. I was still pretty new with it, but I had enough from great people that now I can transfer and then start building my own style of coaching kids. And fortunately, you had the opportunity for me to, you know, step up, and you gave me a couple of chances. Like, you want to run warm-ups?
Yeah.
Like, I'll run warm-ups. And I was like, you know, in my head, I'm like, he's probably not going to like it because he's going to be like GB as fuck. But warm-ups are warm-ups, and it's all about getting attention for the kids. And I think we kind of just flew from there. And
Bro,
look at the gym now.
But from day one, you have had a very unique ability to be hard on the kids, but while simultaneously they feel that it's coming from a place of love. It's not like, I mean, there's plenty of people that have like that dick drill sergeant approach to training. And it's like, and I get it. You can be harder on kids than you can adults because they need more structure and more discipline. But at the same time, if the kids just think you're an asshole, they're not going to buy in on who you are and what you're doing. Like, you can yell at the kids and call them out and set them straight, but then they're going to come give you a hug at the end of the day.
Oh man, then that's
hugs where it's
are
at,
like
bro.
Tight.
That's where it's at.
Yeah.
And again, just because you're brown belt and I'm black belt, like, that doesn't mean that I don't fucking learn from you every day. I watch the way you interact with them and I take from that. And it's important because it's just like you said, you came from a place that had a very disciplined kids program. So you got a lot of reps on what works and what doesn't work. And that's what what you said earlier is like, you got to put the reps in. You had a lot of reps in that realm, and that's not lost on me. And that's something that is like, I love watching how you coach them. And it's empowering to me as a coach to see like these little tips and tricks or the way that you engage them. And that's just going to make the whole team better, Although the one thing we got to work on is they can't fucking do their jumping jacks in sequence for shit, dude.
Oh, bro, and break balls. And
like,
break
bro,
balls.
like, bro, if that was some military shit and we were calling a 4-count exercise, oh, dude, remind me to show you, because there's a video on YouTube of an SF guy, and he's training an Iraqi military force, and he's just trying to get them in cadence on an exercise, and it looks like our fucking kids, bro.
No, I mean, that's not lost on me, but it's like, at the end of the day, we're still winning by bringing kids in and
of course
having more kids. There's still issues that we have to mitigate, such as, simple movements and how to get coordinated. I mean, we grew up in a different time where we rode bikes, we jumped things, we did daredevil shit. We got hurt, but we learned. Kids nowadays, I don't know why they come in here uncoordinated.
I'll tell you what, though, and tell me if you've noticed something. I feel like maybe a year or two ago, I'd be like, all right, 2 times down, handstands, 2 times down, cartwheels. And it looked, I almost said something that I probably shouldn't have said. Let's just say it looked extremely bad.
Yeah.
Like, the majority of the kids didn't seem like they had coordination or strength or balance. And it's just like, what the fuck is going on here? And now you say that, and bro, you're watching 40 kids, and you got 1 or 2 or 3 that are struggling, but the vast majority, their body works now. Yeah. And dude, that, every time I see that fucking fills me with pride, just as much as watching their jiu-jitsu grow. Because if we're being completely honest, just having a physical body that moves through a wide range of movement patterns and has good dexterity and mobility and flexibility, that's going to take you, that's probably going to be more important for your overall health and fitness and longevity than how good your fucking De La Hiva sweep is, right? Yeah. And we see a lot of kids improving dramatically. It's fucking radical, dude.
And now a lot of them are really itching to compete.
Yeah.
Now they have their own Nogi program. I mean, like, the place that you built, dude, it's crazy. The opportunities are endless. We still have chances of building a solid women's program.
That's going to happen.
I see the moms. I look at them and they want to roll.
Well, bro, plus we have Valerie, Christy, and Rachel now.
Yeah.
Brown, purple, who are, Valerie in a very short amount of time became a very respected member of the team.
Yeah.
She is who she is, and it's very apparent. And if you don't feel the good vibes from her and realize like she's all in with us, then you're not very perceptive.
Yeah.
And I think I think as the gym continues to attract the right type of people like her, and then also our homegrown people like Christy and Rachel, like, a women's program is going to be inevitable.
Yeah.
And you're right too, because as we coach, I see it every single night, man. And it's becoming bigger and bigger each night, where we have mom groups here. You see like 4 moms on the picnic table.
Yeah.
And they're laughing and they're showing pictures with their phones. And some of them have like a baby stroller with them. And one of them will have a dog with them. And it's like, I'll look out there and I'll see that. And a snapshot of it may not seem like a big deal, but it is a big deal, because as their kids are training, they're also now investing into community.
Yeah.
And that's a key aspect of what I want from this gym.
Culture building.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of them are networking. And then, you know, they make stuff and they bring stuff, you know, for the gym, for the coaches.
Yeah.
I get chocolates. You know, I know you get some.
Oh, dude. That's actually, I'm glad you reminded me of that. And I'm terrible with names, but Liam's mom.
Kelsey.
Okay. Yeah. That's right. She brought me like a all natural chocolate bar.
Yeah.
It was like 2 months ago. And I didn't have the heart to tell her that I'm in the middle of a diet right now. Yeah. So it's in the fridge.
She gave you 2. I think she gave you another one.
I'm taking the weekend off from my diet. Yeah. So I'm going to eat that fucker right after this
There
podcast.
was 2 in there. I ate one.
So the other one's still in there for me?
Yeah.
Okay.
I came in here hungry. I was like, dude, what the fuck? I opened the fridge.
I'm hungry, so I'm eating a chocolate bar. Come on, like, Will, bro.
Professor, this is mine. No, it's been a wild ride, and I think I really inserted myself, you know, and really like the culture built with you. And I came in not only for the kids program, but also it was a time where there's things in jiu-jitsu that not a lot of people know, right? And if like you have good jiu-jitsu, you came from California, and then you just started your own program, but there was still, to me, in my perspective, like missing aspects of that, like the unwritten rules, and you didn't have the capacity to navigate all of that. You're still trying to focus on building something.
Yeah.
And that's why I said I was sent here, because I was like, and then Jordan came after, you know, and we became like the mat enforcers.
Yeah.
Not to be dicks, but there's levels to this. Like, my professor's not going to spend 45 to an hour teaching you a technique, and then you're going to be practicing with your boyfriend the shit that you watched on YouTube.
Yeah.
Like, fuck that.
Yeah.
Like, you do that shit at open mat, or do that shit at home. Like, little things like that. And
there's also, and again, it's a learning process, because I'm by no means an expert in this. Like, every day I'm learning about how to be a coach, and I'm always trying to walk that line. I never want to come across as an asshole, because at the end of the day, these are grown ass adults that are here spending their time and their money. So who am I to be like, hey, what the fuck are you doing? Right.
Yeah.
So I always try and add an element of humor into calling people out, to let them know, hey, I see what you're doing, and it's fucking bullshit, or people rolling in late, right? But if something is straight egregious, that's when it's like, hey, bro, can you step into my office? We need to discuss something. But those occurrences are pretty few and far between.
Yeah.
You know, for the most part, it's our young purple belts. They always say purple belts are notorious for that, right? Yeah. But it's the truth, because young purple belt, man, they're getting so good that they start to find their path. And that's good. I want you to find your path. But that doesn't mean when we're drilling double leg takedowns that you're looking for entries into heel hooks. You know? Yeah. Like fucking, and the other side of that, bro, like, find me a gym that gives more opportunity than this gym. And I don't think it exists, because I'm the first to say, hey, you want to come in here and drill? Like, bro, we got 3 guys out there drilling right now. There's no class going on.
Yeah.
You know, Igor and I think Adam were upstairs or was it Potts? Potts, yeah. So it's like, anytime that these mats aren't being used, you want to come in and train, I'll facilitate that. I want that. I want the mats being used. I want the weight room being used. I want the sauna being used. That's why they're here, right? But just be very cognizant that if somebody is teaching a block of instructions, it's disrespectful to not be engaged in that block of instruction.
Yeah.
And that goes for anything in life. That's not just jiu-jitsu, right?
Yeah.
And if what that person is teaching you is, if what that person is teaching is not of interest to you, that's fine. But you're going to have to work around that and then make time to train on your own. And bro, then here's the thing too. I open the gym an hour early every day. Not very many people are in here until the class starts.
Yeah.
You know, you got a couple guys doing mobility that are pretty consistent, but if you just attend class, you're going to get good jiu-jitsu. I promise you.
100%. And a lot of the things that you talk about, we don't see, right? In the memes that, like purple belts miss warm-ups, stuff like that. Like we don't get that shit here. Like everybody's always here.
Yeah.
Like occasionally somebody will be late and we have a chance to insert that joke.
Troy was our fucking resident late purple belt.
Yeah, that's right.
He's since moved back home. I miss that motherfucker.
Yeah.
But you were always late, bro.
He was always late, and then he would be laying down, like, bro, get your ass up, bro. Like, what the fuck?
And now we got Evan rolling in late all the time. And here's the thing I say about being late. And the reason I called you out by name is because it's correct. Here's the deal about being late. I tell students all the time, if you're coming from work or, dude, I got to pick my fucking daughter up from volleyball at this time and I can't get here till 6:15. Like, dude, I'm not a dictator. If your life precludes you from stepping onto the mats at 6 o'clock, I would much rather you step on the mats at 6:15 than not step on the mats at all, right?
Yeah.
But if you're stepping on the mats at 6:15 because you were scrolling Instagram and you didn't prioritize this place and this team, we have a problem now. Because what you're saying is, I don't need to put in the work that other people put in. I'm just going to do what I want to do. And that is not good for culture. That's not good for vibes. And you're telling your teammates that you're special. And we shouldn't be doing that, man.
Yeah, like a gamer mentality.
Of that. Yeah, it's the opposite of that.
I don't need to practice. I'm just going to show up and play because I'm the A team.
Yeah, I'm that good.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, the guys that truly are that good, like think of Tom King, for example, right?
Oh, fuck.
The guys that truly are that good,
yeah,
bro, they're here before anybody else. And they're fucking, like, they're putting in, there's always this combination of natural talent and then learned technique, right? And you take the guys that have the most natural talent, sometimes those people, like you've heard that John Jones is lazy sometimes during camp. Have you ever heard that?
Yeah.
And I can't speak to if that's true or if that's internet fucking bullshit. But because he's so naturally talented that he doesn't have to put in massive amounts of hard work, right? But then you get guys that have that natural talent that like putting in the work too. Stand the fuck by.
Yeah.
Stand the fuck by.
As we speak, they're probably at some open mat right now.
Yeah.
Yep. And then we're going to feel the wrath of that come Monday, Wednesday.
Yep.
And like you said, man, earlier you touched on when you give people opportunity and see what they do with it.
Mm-hmm.
I know you forgot about this, but we were still upstairs. And I was rolling with you one day, and then you gave me side control. And I was proceeded to go for a Bravo. And I just downshifted. I said, fuck, no, I know where this is going. So I just played side control, moved to knee on belly, and then advanced my position and look for another submission, instead of just going to my usual go-to of Bravo and smash the face in and look for a choke. I knew instantly. I said, no, this is one of those where he's giving me an opportunity to see what I can do, how I can progress. So I'm going to downshift it. But that was it's still vivid in my memory. I feel that. And a lot of people, they take advantage of that. They don't feel it. They pass by it. They gloss over that, and then they'll call you out later.
Uh-huh.
Like, I passed your guard. It's like,
dude,
fuck
dude. You, dude.
Like you always talk about it. Emotional intelligence. Like you gotta know how to read the room. You gotta know how to read certain situations.
Yeah,
and know what you're getting into.
I'm surprised you didn't choke the shit out of me, bro.
I was going to, but then I was like, no, dude. Like I already knew where it was going. Because there's roles that we have to give the kids sometimes. Yeah. Where you're giving them resistance, not to beat them up, but to see how they get technical and push past that resistance. Or how they go through they seek the path of least resistance. And I felt that. I was like, yeah, no, it's not my day.
Well, bro, and that's the thing that is the fascinating part of what we do here is every role, bro, every single role that we have with each other is literally like an in-depth conversation. There's so much going on behind the scenes. We're reading each other's energy. We're reading each other's movement patterns. Literally, like, what type of day you have had can play into how the role is, what type of day I have had, if I'm happy, if I'm sad. Like, there's a million things going on. And being able to meet your teammates where they need to best be met is a fascinating aspect of jiu-jitsu. And that is where I feel like you really start to understand what this is all about.
Yeah.
And bro, like, some days people just need to have their shit pushed in. Other days they need, like, you need to just let them, like, show them love while we're rolling, you know?
And every day I think we hit the mark, because one, you've built such an amazing facility and it's been filled with great fucking humans. And I say we hit the mark every day because, like, people don't want to fucking leave after rolls. You know, we want to sit down and talk and really dig deeper into each other's lives, you know, and help each other. And in some way or shape or form, we're getting connected in more ways than one outside of the gym.
Yes.
And then now we're showing that to the community, and it's only bringing in more people. We're connecting the dots with people that are like us, are like-minded, but they never knew. They didn't, like, we're like the beacon of hope now, right? Like, you see the light out in the community, like, hey, why you stand like that? Like, your posture fucking, you know? It's like, oh, man.
You had guys saying it to you last night. You look like a fighter, except I don't see cauliflower here. Like, shut up and just come get on the mats, and then decide if you think I'm a fighter or not.
We gotta look for that guy. We want to bring him in here. Yeah, he said, "Oh, you look like a Pablo." I was like, he goes, "What's your name?" I said, "Will." He's like, "Oh, you look more like a Pablo." And I was like, "Dude, I'm not trying to fight tonight, dude." But I had baseball bat grips on the pull stick, like on my shoulder. And if nobody took notice of that, you know where you have no presence of mind.
I fucking hate people sometimes, bro. Because that's exactly what he is. Like, oh, because your skin's dark, you look like a Pablo.
Yeah.
Like, what are you trying to get with that statement? Are you trying to entice a fight? Because yes, you are. That's what you're trying to do.
Yeah, 100%.
But what you don't know is you're on the verge of fucking being murdered, bro. Like, you and Jordan, bro. I reference Jordan all the time on the podcast as the last dude I would want to fight on concrete or in a fucking bar playing pool. Like, that dude's
let alone roll.
They got no idea.
Yeah,
they got no fucking idea.
Zero.
And it's scary.
Yeah,
I mean, fucking scary that there's humans out there like that, and you're drunk running your mouth to them.
Yeah, and he's just over there soaking it all up. Yeah, just affirming everything that he's saying. Yeah, wow, fuck, awesome, bro. You should show up.
Yeah,
he's like, yeah, I want to show up. I'm gonna roll through. And he's like, please do. We need more people like you.
Oh, so he brought the academy up to him then, or you're just saying in life, like?
No. Jordan did.
Oh, okay.
After he, because he was referencing fighting, and he was looking at my ears. He's like, you don't have cauliflower ears, but what's your business over here standing all jacked? And
what's your business standing all jacked?
And I was like, bro, I'm just fucking playing pool with my buddy over here.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, what's your name? I was like, Will. He's like, well, you look more like a Pablo. And then Jordan starts coming around the corner, and I started getting that sense, like, is this really going down? Because
what a stupid fucking thing to go down on a Saturday night after a fucking radical day. You know?
And that's all me and my partner wanted to do, was just decompress after a long day of, grilling burgers and him making briskets and celebrating what we just did.
Yeah, bro. It's nuts. One thing I talked about yesterday that what we were just talking about was making me think about it, how as the culture expands and people start to hang out more and more at night, right?
Yeah.
Like, dude, there's a lot of nights now that I'm not getting out of here till almost 9.
Yeah.
That's an hour and a half. That's a little long for me. Right? But at the same time, there's also enough people here that I trust now that's like, hey, bro, will you lock up? I got to get out of here, And I'm not saying this with any type of like disappointment or anything, because I love that we've built a place where people can like lean in and become emotional and start to share like hardships or problems in their life. But the other side of the coin is too, it's like, hey, sometimes this place just needs to be about jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Just lean into the jiu-jitsu and the good vibes and have fun with it. And at the end of the night, joke around the table and have fun. And if someone wants to fucking burn a joint, cool. But as the team gets more cohesion and gets stronger, I'm now starting to find that like there's more conversations about, hey bro, can I talk to you about something? Me and my wife. And it's like, and everything's a balance, right? Because I like the fact that people have now found somewhere where they can be vulnerable, right? But the balancing act of that is you can't be the guy that always wants to talk about heavy shit either. Because if you always show up being, oh, I gotta talk, can I ask you some questions about what's going on with my boss? And it's like, sure, what's up, bro? Okay, cool. Don't come at me with any dark shit for 10 days. Right? Or whatever it is, right? But just as there's a balance in everything in life, I think it's important for people to realize once you've found a tribe of people that you can lean on, that consider you an asset and not a liability, just because that you have trust in those people and those people have your best interests in mind, you can still spoil it by becoming like what we call an energy vampire. And if you can't, this is something you have to think about, because if you become the person that every time we get together, or every time we're hanging out, you decide to seek guidance or interject things that are super heavy, like, bro, people aren't here to take on heavy energy. People are here to expel heavy energy. And then we walk out of here and we feel refreshed and we feel reset. That's where the magic happens. So just the reason I bring it up is because I think as the culture continues to build and people feel more comfortable with each other, they now start to show more vulnerabilities.
Yeah.
But too much vulnerability can take away from the progress on the mats too. Like, we don't want every session ending with, I was going to say tears. People aren't normally crying, but still they take an hour and a half of fucking like positive energy. And then, oh, hey, can I get your opinion on this? I just got fired or whatever. It's like, fuck, man.
And it's wild because they come here with the intention to do jiu-jitsu, but it's weighed in heavier on, I can't wait till class is done because I want to unload that shit.
Yeah. You see it sometimes. You see it sometimes. Yeah. And again, like the way I'm articulating this, I'm trying to be very careful, because the last thing I want is one of my students that's going through some dark shit to feel like they can't lean on people here. It's what we are, right? Yeah. But just be cognizant of how much you're leaning on other people versus how much you're allowing other people to lean on you. Because you never want to be the teammate that is always taking and not giving.
Yeah.
And sometimes just shut the fuck up and listen and let the other person talk.
Yeah.
And you actually drive power from that too by helping them.
Yeah.
You know?
No, and I see that. And it's like, we just have to have the presence of mind. Like, I practice it, and I say it so many times in my past podcast, and I think I said it the last time we did your podcast, right? It's self-assessing.
Yeah.
You know, you said it earlier, look in the fucking mirror. There's enough content coming out of this place that you can lean on and self-assess. In that way, when you engage with somebody, it's much more targeted.
Yeah.
Rather than just offloading shit weekly, you know? So you can come much more targeted and get the answer that you don't know, get somebody's perspective, their process, and you can come out with a desired outcome. And sometimes you can just listen to Professor's past podcasts. You can listen to the Compassionate Viking. You know, you can draw a lot of things from that and self-assess. So like I said, when you come now, our conversations are more targeted and they're not just like an energy suck.
Yeah.
You know?
And the thing is, another thing that's important to remember is like, become comfortable leaning on your equals. Like, if you're having a problem at home, you don't have to seek out me as the gym owner and black belt, right? You got 200 people that are strong, capable, caring, charismatic people that would probably do very well to pull them out to one of the picnic tables and be like, hey, bro, can I get your perspective on something? But something that I've been noticing is like, you only have a capacity for so many things, right? And this, and again, it kind of sounds like arrogant or whatever, but it's just reality. Like, I have enough going on in my life that I don't have the capacity for more people's problems outside of like my own family and my own and the people that are like very, very close with me. And so like, and it's an ongoing process where I'm trying to navigate it and learn how to help people, but without taking on that negative energy. And you know what Jenny says to me? She goes, you just need to learn how to hold space for people, but not take on that energy. And I was like, that's some fucking witch shit. Like, like if someone's telling me a story that makes me feel emotions, how can I just build a fucking wall up and I don't take any of it in, but I just hold this space to let you expel it and then just wash my hands of it, you know? And I get what she's saying. Yeah. Like the concept makes sense, but I'm a passionate person. And when I start to get pulled into a conversation or a conflict, then I start to feel it. Yeah. And then I get home and then she feels it, you know? And so she'll tell me, she'll be like, you're not everybody's fucking therapist.
Wash your hands at the gym before you come home.
Yeah. And she says like, you're not everybody's fucking therapist. You're their coach. And if they want therapy sessions, then they need to start getting billed for them.
I 100% agree with that, mama. I mean, and it's fun at times, but it's very true what she says. Yeah.
Well, and it is true, bro, because it's just like at the end of the day, I'm just a person too. And I appreciate that you want my perspective on stuff, but sometimes, and here's the interesting thing, like this is a pretty small organization when you think about it, at 250 members, right? Man, there's some people that are probably bombarded by thousands of people with stuff like this, you know?
No, it's wild. And I'm really glad that we went on a tangent of jiu-jitsu because 2 weeks ago, there was a new academy that just opened up back home in Saipan. So now there's 2.
Oh, there's only 2?
Yeah. Or I think there's 3 now. But it's something great when it makes the news, the local news, right? Yeah. And it touches me because that's something that I've used to grow and I've used to get connected and I'm using to build better humans. And I like that we touched on it because I want this to reach back home and really get them to hear your perspective as a leader of your jiu-jitsu style and what you do and how we coach people, the different ways that we've built culture and how we learn, like you said earlier, how to address their needs, but not hold it for yourself.
Yeah.
Because in the island, everything that happens here happens there, but it's more magnified because it's so small and everybody knows each other. And I think jiu-jitsu is going to be the actual catalyst that could change a lot of mindsets and really get people to the next level, just with clean eating and everything that happens back home. It's all comfort. Everything is comfort. And insert jiu-jitsu, there's a lot of pain in there. And you're going to go through some pain, especially if you're not in shape. But we're at the point now back home where there's a lot of people dying just because of what we've been consuming. And it's become like a thing. Like every week, I get a call or a text. Oh, so-and-so passed away. So-and-so passed away. And it's my mission now, along with my boys that I introduced you with, Pal and AJ, to really step in the forefront. And regardless of not being fully informed of what we're doing, we're all about trying to get connected with better people that have started their journey and how they've become better and really bring that to our community and help them. Even if it's just fucking walking.
Yeah.
And don't put soy sauce on your rice. Like, let's start with little shit like that. Shit that you can control. We cannot control the economy and what they bring in to feed the people, but there's certain things that we can do.
You always have an element of choice.
Yeah.
In everything that you do.
Yeah.
And fuck, bro, we're in our 40s now. And so what we're finding is, and this is only going to get worse as we continue to age, the people in our circles that did not invest in themselves and didn't make wise choices, they're going to start paying the price. And we're going to start seeing it more and more and more. And, like Lappin always says, is choose your hard, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's very applicable here because you can choose your hard by waking up and eating clean foods and going for a run and then coming here and getting some rounds in. Like all those things are hard, right?
Yeah.
But if you don't do those things and you choose comfort is what? Sitting on the couch, ordering fucking Uber Eats, and you seek comfort instead of hard. The backside of that is now going to be hardship that you don't have any say in, that you don't get to dictate. And that hardship is being overweight and type 1 diabetes and getting winded walking up a flight of stairs. And so like there is no path out of this life that doesn't involve hardship. That's just the reality of it.
Yeah.
But the beauty of this life is we get to choose that hardship. And if you front load it, then you don't have to deal with it on the back end. Yeah. But if you hide from it on the front end, it's going to haunt you on the back end. That formula is very well understood. Everybody knows that. And for whatever reason, it's like people just don't want to admit that or operate in a manner in which they understand that. And that's why you got fucking like all of these people that are on the verge of death. Like you go to Walmart and you watch people driving around those little carts and it's like, oh fuck, dude, you're literally on the verge of death and they might not even know it, dude.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of my 5-day dry fast where I didn't eat or drink anything for 5 days last week, I went to Hagen's because I bought coconut water and then some other liquids because I got to break the fast that night, right? And I was using the cart that I was on as like a walker.
Just holding yourself up.
Just holding myself up. And Jenny goes, you look like the Walking Dead. Do you want me to push the cart? I said, I don't want you to push the cart because I'm leaning on it. And it's actually doubling as a walker right now because just my energy was just shot. And then I got home and was talking to Siler about it, my oldest daughter, and she goes, why didn't you just hop in one of those electric things with the basket?
Fuck no.
I didn't, bro. My brain didn't even consider that as an option until I was home from the grocery store talking to one of my daughters. And I was like, oh, that's right. They do have those things.
Yeah.
Right?
No, it's crazy you say that because I'm pretty sure you were depleted as all get out.
Bro,
right?
I was fucked, man. I went from 195 to 175 in 5 days.
And it's crazy because you say you didn't think about the cart, but I know just from jiu-jitsu standpoint, right? And your balance, like not only are you leaning on the cart, but you're not trying to lean too heavy that it's gonna fucking
yeah, of
you're gonna fall flat, like flat on your face. So I know you still had the presence of mind to fucking at least have good base.
Yeah, fuck yeah,
you
bro.
in jiu-jitsu.
Well, and it's funny too because like Jenny said, she's like, dude, looking at you driving. Jenny and Siler said this, and for people who don't listen to my podcast, Siler's my 15-year-old daughter. They both said this to me, and it kind of hurt my feelings a little bit, but it's also truth. They're like, you're like a shell of your former self. And Siler goes, I don't like it. I like walking around with you when you look like you. And then I looked in the mirror and I was like, oh man, I look weak right now. I do. Like all my muscles were deflated. And not that your toughness or your grit or your resilience is about how jacked you are, because we all know like a strong physical body is a component of being a motherfucker, but it's not all of it, right?
Yeah.
It's like Tyler's a perfect example right now. Like Tyler, because he's back to work and he's busy all the time, he's back to being like pretty light. You can tell.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think Tyler is right now? 170, 165, 170?
170, yeah.
I don't want to fight Tyler. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not all about how fucking big and jacked you are. But it still plays a role in your presence. And my presence was what took a hit. I looked deflated. I looked defeated. Yeah. And the girls didn't like that, dude. for obvious reasons. I'm the fucking protector, and I'm walking around the world looking like a deflated fucking middle-aged man. And so I told Jenny, I said, hey, I know I'm fucking not good right now, and I understand that I'm 20 pounds lighter than I was a few days ago, but I'll fucking murder anybody still. I promise you.
Roger that.
Do not misconstrue the fact that I'm sick and weak and tired as I'm not capable, because there ain't a motherfucker around that could take me. I promise you.
You know, it's crazy that you mentioned that, because the girls only affirmed everything that you've been, right? You've always said, like, I'm the protector of my family.
Yeah.
You wake up to shape other men to fucking be the same, whether it's through podcasts or teaching jujitsu, you know, or other forms of communication with other men.
Or bro, like Forged Ferocity, bro, half the team did the 10-week diet with me. You know what I mean? Like we're helping people get after it, and that's the truth.
Yeah, and you didn't, like, the girls don't, it's just like my daughter too, like, they don't tell us stuff, you know, they don't tell us how we look until it looks bad. But we don't know that that's what they see. Like, you always want to be that man for your girls.
Of course,
until you started doing something different. That's when you got affirmation from them that, no, go back to that, being that tough motherfucker. And I was like, all right, so they do fucking watch.
They know, bro.
Yeah. Oh, it's automatic. I see the way they carry themselves, and they belong in the community, and it's all because of who leads that. Who leads the pack.
No, and I was thinking about it from, you know, like Jenny grew up with a dad that wasn't one of us. He was the opposite of us. He was someone that, and I'm not going to tell too much of her story, but he wasn't a man that prided himself on capability. He was a man that was always trying to take the shortcut and be the sneaky snake, get the easiest route, and like schmooze things over, just kind of a full of shit type of person, right?
Yeah.
And then I thought about Cadence and Siler and Maya and all of our friends' teenage daughters now. Who would they be if they didn't have an absolute motherfucker as head of household? And it made me realize, like, dude, by being these dominant male figures in their life, we are giving them a gift that a lot of girls will never have an opportunity to receive. And it's pretty fucking special for them, man. And like me and Jenny kind of went in the weeds on it because she never had it growing up. And Jenny was smart enough to seek it. Because you always hear like a girl will seek a mate that mirrors their father.
Yeah.
Jenny said, when I was fucking 14 years old, I knew I'm finding someone that's the opposite end of the spectrum. But she's smart enough to have that understanding, right?
Yeah.
A lot of girls, I think, just kind of fall into comfort of, hey, this is what I know, so this is what I seek. And I think being a strong, dominant, powerful male, and when I say dominant, I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. I mean it in a loving way.
Posture
like,
up.
Yeah, like
look jacked.
Yeah, and dominate your fucking life, and dominate your circle, and dominate your family in a good way, right? Like taking full ownership of it, and filling the circles that you partake in with fucking power and love. Yeah. All of our girls see that, and bro, they're not even girls anymore. They're young women.
Yeah, it's
they're
wild.
Young women.
Yeah,
I mean, Cadence is what, 13?
14.
So it's like we still in my daughter's 15, and it's like on one hand, it's like 14 and 15, they're still kids. They're not kids anymore. And yet, you know how you know they're not kids? Have a fucking conversation with them.
Yeah.
Look into their eyes when they walk into this place and how they interact with people. And it's like, and fuck, bro, when 500 years ago, they were already betrothed and married to a fucking prince of a different province. You know what I'm saying? Like these women that we're raising now, we're already seeing the result in it. And bro, when our girls go to the mall,
oh yeah, dude.
I don't have any fucking concerns.
I mean,
especially if Abby's with them.
Abby or Joel's daughter.
Oh yeah, dude.
I was just like, I would love to be sitting on the bench when somebody tries to fuck with one of them.
Yeah, bro, it's gonna be ugly.
Yeah, no, it's wild, you know, because like Islanders, man, like I said, it's a really small community. Like we always joke about that, right? They say, "Oh, how do you feel about your daughter dating now?" You know, like I don't get that question now but I'm not saying don't date. I don't tell her not to date. Where I'm trying to get to is, instead of trying to find a good man for my daughter by questioning, who he is and what does he do.
Give her the tools to seek a good man.
Fuck yeah.
That's where it's at, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make her capable of doing it herself. And I would rather feel bad for him than feel bad for her.
Yeah.
I would probably worry more about the man that she's going to be with.
And bro, like, it's funny because I get people say that to me all the time. Oh, bro, you got 3 daughters. Oh, I feel sorry for you. Or I feel sorry for the guy that's going to date your daughters. Like, I get those comments constantly. And it's like, all right, well, my oldest has had a boyfriend for a long time now. And everything that he's shown me is he's a good kid. And because he's shown me that, I give him respect. Yeah. And I talk to him how I talk to a young man. Now, everybody involved in this circumstance understands if he steps out of the side of what's reasonable, I will cave your fucking head in with a brick. Like, everybody knows that.
Oh, yeah.
That's a byproduct of being a powerful, good father.
Yeah.
And that's not because I'm a tough black belt. That's because I'm a fucking father.
Yeah.
Most fathers would do the same thing if the man in their daughter's life stepped out of the realm of reasonableness. And bro, the realm of reasonableness, I mean, that's a whole other conversation, right? Like, oh, he cheated on me, or we were supposed to meet up and he ditched me. Like, I ain't getting caught up in your drama, right?
Yeah.
Like, if there's drama, you need to deal with it as a young woman and then choose, is this person someone that should be in my life or not be in my life? And we've already had some conversations like that.
Yeah.
But if he were to ever drive with her in the car being intoxicated, bro, I'm going to beat your ass. If you ever fucking abuse her physically or emotionally, bro, I'm going to beat your fucking ass. And like, but that's pretty normal. Like, I think most dads would do that.
Yeah.
Outside of that, bro, I'm going to build you up. I took the kid out to the range and taught him how to use AR-15. I want him. He's actually away right now for school. But eventually, if you end up being part of my family, I need you to be tough. I need you to be capable. I need you to know how to fight people, how to use the weapons that this family owns, all the stuff. I'm not going to be able to build that kid up to that person unless I have a good relationship with him.
Yeah.
So all these dads, I'm going to sit on the porch with my shotgun and he's going to see when he comes and picks my daughter up. Congratulations. You did some little fucking publicity stunt and you made the kid afraid of you.
Yeah.
You think that's going to benefit his relationship with you, which is going to be a direct correlation to your relationship with your daughter? Like, fuck, come on, people.
Yeah.
And so, but you already nailed it. You said what needed to be said is like, our job is not to choose their boyfriends. Our job is to teach them their own self-worth. Yeah. So they choose boyfriends that meet them where they deserve to be met.
Yeah.
And bro, if your daughter does not feel loved and does not feel special and does not feel valued, there's a good chance. I mean, Jenny's an anomaly because she was that girl, but she was able to say, I deserve more than this.
Yeah.
A lot of women will devalue themselves and say, hey, if my dad never loved me, I'm probably not lovable. And then you'll seek a mate that doesn't give you what you deserve. And it's fucking dark, but it's a truth.
And they just cope with what they get.
And then they just cope with it. Yeah.
No, and I had the pleasure of meeting Siler's boyfriend.
Okay.
And that's just another byproduct. You're solid. We have a tribe that is solid. And I met him at tribe night.
Okay. Yeah.
So I put myself in his shoe for a minute. If I was a young man, being in this room right now is the best place I could be in
Hell
life.
yeah. Yep.
Surrounded by strong motherfuckers. Not just strong and jacked, but also heavy hitters in life. They go after it, they get after shit, and they get shit done. And I was just like looking at myself. If I was in this shoe, I was like, bro,
hell yeah.
This is how we build communities.
Lean into that shit, dude.
Yeah, so that's more of a message to like everybody, right? When you have
and let me ask you, did he come up and shake your hand, look you in the eye?
A fucking solid handshake.
Hell yeah. And that little shit is important, bro.
Yeah. And he looked really uncomfortable, as he should.
Yeah.
Because you're surrounded by men.
That could kill you.
Yeah, but it's always going to be me to break the ice. Hey, get your ass over here and sit over here.
And you're also infiltrating their tribe. That's what you're doing, right? I mean, have you watched Chimp Empire on Netflix?
No.
You should watch it, bro. It's a really interesting documentary, but it's about the dynamics of chimpanzee families. And when the girls get old enough to seek boyfriends, they kick them out of the tribe. They kick them out, and you have to leave the tribe and wander the jungle until another tribe brings you in. And the reason they do that is to ensure genetic diversity, because they can't have inbreeding within the tribe, which is pretty fascinating.
Wow.
Right? It's pretty harsh too.
Yeah.
All right, you're 15, get out of here. But the reason I bring that up is because like interjecting yourself into a new social circle as a young man, like, bro, we all know what you're trying to do here.
Yeah.
We know, like, I was a 16-year-old boy too. Like, we all know what you're trying to do here. But as long as you play this game with respect, I'm actually okay with it. Yeah. And I know that sounds fucking crazy. It's like, what are you talking about? It's like, dude, I know how the world works. I know who I was at 16, and I'm not fucking stupid. So the 16-year-olds that are sniffing around my house, I know what they want too. But I also have I'm grounded in reality, and young men and women desire fucking sexuality, and they grow into wanting relationships with people. So you can just bury your head in the sand and act like nothing's happening, or you can be part of the process. And it's kind of like anything in life. You interject yourself, you be part of the process. Dude, now you get a little vote in how things play out.
100%.
That's what you want.
Yeah. It's not, like you said, it's not possibility. It's probability.
Yeah. Yeah. And the probability, the probability of fucking boys fucking sniffing around our houses for the next fucking decade is 100%.
Yeah. Very, very, very high. So I want to touch back just real quick on why you did the 5-day dry fast and some of the benefits that you gained from that. And how do you think it could reset somebody's system?
Bro, like, so I just need to give the caveat, like, I was intrigued by it, so I did it, and I'm happy to talk through it. But to sit here and be like, oh, dude, it did this and it did that, and it reset my fucking whatever, and I have a bunch of new stem cells, like, it's too early to feel the benefits.
Yeah.
So maybe it didn't do fucking anything good for me. Like maybe it just was a fucking a really, really difficult mental challenge, and now it's completed. Time will tell. But it's the same thing I say about the ice tub.
Yeah.
I don't get in the ice tub because, it releases norepinephrine and it's a good vasodilator or constrictor. And then when you get out, then your arteries open up and it actually allows better blood flow, all the shit. Like, we could talk for an hour on it.
Yeah.
And while all that is probably likely true, or a percentage of it is true, I get in the fucking ice because I hate it. I get in the ice because it's hard, right? And I shouldn't say hate, because I have a relationship with it now, and we understand each other. And I know that this tub of water wants to break me down emotionally and spiritually, and I'm not going to fucking let it. And I'm going to show you that my constitution is stronger than the 38-degree water in this fucking ice barrel in my backyard in January. So that's a mental battle that I've been partaking in for literally 10 years now. I started cold water therapy in 2015 when we opened the gym, before fucking everybody was like jumping into shit on Instagram all the time.
Before they found Wim Hof?
Yeah. Oh, Wim Hof was already doing it. He's the OG, bro. He's the OG. But yeah, you're right. Before everybody knew. So anytime I'm confronted with a challenge, I have to tell myself the foundation of this challenge is simply seeing if I have the mental fortitude to get through it. Then anything that's beneficial after that, cool, right? Yeah. Like, that makes me happy. Don't get me wrong. I hope that I did release stem cells. I hope that I did eat all of the dysfunctional tissue in my body, those things that are supposed to occur. But during those 5 days, so for people that don't know, dry fast is 5 days, no food, no water, no liquids, no anything. Like, nothing goes in your mouth for 5 days. Not one drop of water. Because I had people keep asking me, like, you're saying you're not drinking any water, but that's not impossible. So is it like one drink a day or like what's, I was like, no, you're overthinking it. Nothing goes in your mouth for 5 days, period. And by day 3, I was on the struggle bus, bro. And my brain was starting to play these tricks on me that I usually don't have to confront. Like I know once I put my mind to something, I can usually see it through, even if it sucks. And that's not because I'm something special. It's because I've done enough hard things that what I do in my brain is I say, hey, on Sunday night at 5 p.m. or whatever it was, this exercise comes to a conclusion. So between right now and 6 p.m. on Sunday night, the pain that I feel doesn't matter. The emotions I experience don't matter because my decision to succeed was already made.
Yeah.
And now the decision to succeed was already made. So now I'm just in the process of enduring. And enduring stuff fucking sucks. But that's what we do, right? Bro, on day 3, my brain started saying, you should probably think about quitting because this is bad. And I was like, what the fuck, dude? And it got to the point where it was like that weak part of my brain was saying, bro, you might fuck your kidneys up. You got a bunch of DMs from guys claiming to know this and that. Even a guy I know that's a physician's like, bro, you're going to fuck your kidneys and your liver up if you go through with this. I'm a fucking doctor. You are going to fuck your kidneys up. And I'm like, bro, I read a fucking book written by doctors. And he goes, yeah, and they're out of Russia. And Russian doctors are notorious for being full of shit and lying. And I was just like, fuck, man. Like, but I wasn't saying fuck, man, because I felt there was validity in his argument. The reason I was saying it is because the weakness in my brain was looking for a reason to back out.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, what if he's right?
Yeah.
What if this? What if that?
Yeah. For me, I just hanging around with you and being close to you, I knew you had one thing. You had a strong will. And I know when you set your mind to something, you're going to see it through the finish.
Well, bro.
I know there's going to be battles. There's probably enormous benefits, which time will tell.
Yeah.
But I was always rooting for you. But I knew strong will is what always gets you through shit.
And so, bro, on day 3, there was a part of me that was like fear-mongering in my own head, saying that I should probably quit for this reason. I should probably quit for that reason. And then I was like, yeah, you can quit. But then everybody you know and everybody that listens to your podcast and everybody that follows you on social media will know that you committed to something and you didn't see it through. What's more important? And, you know, it's easy. Like sometimes people say, I don't give a fuck what other people think of me. Well, that's not me. I do care what other people think of me. I care that I've built a community of people that look at me as someone that holds strength and someone that holds discipline. I care about that. I think it's important. I care that people consume my podcasts and think that things that I share could potentially be beneficial to their life. I care about that. I've had enough emails come through where people are like, I was overweight, I was on the verge of divorce, and I listened to your show, and I signed up at jiu-jitsu, I started eating meat and fruit, and then it's this list of beneficial changes in their life, right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to have that impact on people if I can't see things through. Because if I can't see things through, I'm just like everybody else that's just fucking flavor of the week, flowing in the wind, and it scares me to fall into becoming that person. And then it gets even a little darker. Like I was in the shower one day and I was like, if you just open your mouth and take a couple drops of water in, no one will know. And I was like, you motherfucker. No one will know but you.
Right? Or when you go into your ice barrel.
Yeah, that's right. Like, dude, I could just take I could go to the bottom and go and take a big old fucking drink, dude. But then there was 2 things. I said, well, I'll know that I did that. And you knowing that should be bad enough, right? And then the other side of it is, I'm either doing it or I'm not doing it. Like, the reason you're doing it is because you are challenging yourself
Yeah.
to put yourself through a program that's supposed to reap these specific medical benefits. If you don't want to do it, then don't do it. But to fucking, what, now you're considering pretending to do it? Because that's what you're doing. If you take a secret drink of water, you're no longer doing the program. You're just pretending to do the program, which means you're a lying piece of shit.
Yeah.
And dude, I have 2 fucking voices in my head, and both of them can be very strong. I just don't ever let the weak voice, the bitch voice, be victorious.
Yeah.
But the bitch voice is in there. And my bitch voice is strong. I talk about it on the show a lot. Bro, I get the bitch voice in my head comes out sometimes when I'm grappling.
Oh.
Like if fucking Daniel starts to fucking put me in like some hard crossface or something, and like, you know how a crossface can be so hard you can't breathe sometimes? Yeah. I'll get that bitch voice. It's like, just tap.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck,
especially from somebody like that.
Yeah.
Because the pressure is immense, and then there's other things happening that it's restricting you.
Yeah.
And the bitch voice kicks in really quick, and you're on the verge of dying.
Your body is definitely like, here's the thing. We're in a training environment and the clock's running, and I only have to endure this for 80 more seconds or whatever it is. But your physiology from fucking thousands and thousands of years of combat, if another man is on top of you and strangling you and you can't breathe, our physiology says this man is killing me.
Yeah.
And then the emotion of this man killing me is what you feel. And I hate the fact that I feel that. I wish I could fucking completely train that out of me, but I've been doing it for 20 years and it can still get touched from time to time. Now, people say, oh, you can't teach heart. You can teach heart, because I've seen people go from being very fearful on the mats to being almost indestructible on the mats, right? And I'm one of those people, bro. Like, to make me want to quit, you got to drag me into really, really deep waters, but it's still in there. And I never succumb to the quit voice, but just the fact that I have to have a conversation with it can be frustrating, because I do think there are men that don't have quit in them.
Yeah.
I don't think Diego Sanchez has a quit voice in him.
No, dude.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
it's wild, and it's really strong. And like I said, right, we said earlier about, we can go back to touching when you come in here with your heavy shit. Like, this is the kind of shit that you listen to. Like, the different mindsets that people have, you as a leader.
Yeah.
Like, this is the shit that I listen to, and then I assess myself. Okay, it'd be stupid of me to ask this question or what he thinks about this.
Yeah.
I can listen, draw from that, and really assess what I'm doing. You know, the bitch voice, everybody has the bitch voice. Like, I have the bitch voice. I could have the bitch voice against Daniel, you, Oliver.
Yeah.
You know?
Bro, well, check this out. And it'd be interesting to get your perspective on this. The bitch voice for me comes out stronger when it's someone that I didn't expect to have any success with me. Like, if I'm going with Joao and he starts to beat the brakes off me, because that's so understood that at any time this guy wants to kill me, he could. And when he starts to, it's like, okay, don't get me wrong. It still sucks, but it makes sense. But bro, you get like a tough ass blue belt, like a Jake Thompson, right? Yeah. And he is able to fucking like, jiu-jitsu happens, and he read my hips better than I read his, and he does a fucking aggressive knee slice, and then is now in like a judo side control, and you're stuck. Oh, fuck, yeah. Right? Yeah. No, I can't have this, you know? And I've noticed that a few times in the last year, where it's like guys that 99 times out of 100 don't give me a competitive role. I shouldn't say don't give me a competitive role, but I'm controlling the role.
Yeah.
But they get an element of control in it. Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy, dude.
No, it's wild. And that's why we're going back to brown belt again, right? Like, this is where I cue in. Okay, this guy came in from California. I was rolling him around. He lost a lot of weight, you know, started taking care of himself, really digging deep into the academy. And now when I roll with him, it's like, and he comes up to me and says, you want a flow roll? I said, what the fuck does that mean? I was like, are you looking for a flow roll, or are you talking shit?
Yeah.
Like, you're like low-key trying to talk shit. He's like, no, man, you look hurt. I want to roll, and I know you want to flow. So I was like, yeah, let's flow roll. And even with that, I can feel, when when you roll with people that know how to flow, and you can feel their weight and their resistance, but they're not trying to kill you.
Yeah.
And then when you translate that into an actual roll, and then you get stuck like in those places, and you're like, fuck that. That's why I love brown belt now so much, because I'll get stuck under him, under Adam.
Yep.
And I get forced to use everything else. And now my jiu-jitsu is getting better on the bottom. It's like, it's not badass, but I'm not getting murdered.
Yeah.
Like, I'm actually creating space. Like, oh, I can't breathe. Maybe I just need to like bump and turn to the side a little bit just to create some room for my chest to like expand a little bit.
Well, bro, like, and this is where like jiu-jitsu being endless, because both of us are, I mean, what are you, 210 pounds or something?
205.
205. Okay, that's 5 pounds off, dude. It's pretty good. And I was 201 this morning. So we're both 200-pound men that are pretty tough, right? And so our game is developing around a person that's 200 pounds that's a pretty strong person, right? Until you go with a guy that is bigger than stronger than you, and now your size and strength don't really matter as much. So you know who I've been watching lately is Mikey Musumeci.
Yeah.
Listen to him talk about guard retention. Listen to him talk about either preventing guard passing or reclaiming if they do start to have success in the guard pass. And bro, it's nothing rooted in physicality or toughness or being a fucking warrior. To him, it's just scientific data and angles and numbers. And it's like, oh, that shit works too. And so like some of his little tricks I think about, and I've been implementing them against like bigger, stronger guys. And it's like, oh, you don't always have to look at this as a fight. You can almost look at this as like an equation, and that's why that fucking dude, because he's, I mean, what is he, 125 pounds or something?
He's not a big,
fucking tiny.
Yeah.
And Gordon Ryan said he has an impassable guard.
He's smaller than LZ, Joey.
Yeah.
And he goes against open weight. And all he does is, like you said, he just switches angles and doesn't stop.
It's fucking fascinating. Speaking of Joey Elzea, I was super happy to tie a black belt around his waist yesterday.
Yeah,
I don't know the last time. Do you roll with Joey regularly?
I think it's been a while since I rolled with him.
Dude, get around with him. Dude. It's fascinating jiu-jitsu. Fascinating jiu-jitsu. And again, it's someone that I'm substantially larger than, and he uses technique as opposed to trying to fucking smash pass. Yeah. And that's a whole side of jiu-jitsu that is just as viable as any other side of jiu-jitsu.
Roger that. Damn, we're almost 2 hours, man.
We're 2 hours, yeah. But I got to cut out, there's like a 30-second clip at the beginning that I have to cut out. So like whatever that clock reads, just subtract 30 seconds.
Roger. We have this, I mentioned to you and your wife about, our Labor Day tournament, and it's been a big gathering spot for many of our people around the country. And we have people that come from the islands to enjoy that. And I just wanted to highlight, because you guys decided to jump in on the sponsorship, right? And it's me and Pao, we really want to push your stuff out there, because like we said, we're just trying to align ourselves with people that have a stronger mindset and introduce more of these things to our people.
Yeah.
And alongside the Endless Endeavor podcast, which you started, you've also embarked on something new that's been, I've seen, really working for a lot of the great men and one woman here at the gym.
There's actually a couple women involved.
Or it's a couple now?
Yeah. But a lot, the other ones are just very low key.
Yeah. And it's Forged Ferocity. And I'm really considering joining that, because it's another thing for me to keep myself in check, and really, if I want to lean into some of your coaching, I think that's where I can get it from, So that's kind of like another shameless plug for somebody that comes to row and then wants to dump. Like, join Forged Ferocity.
Yeah. And dude, like, we don't have to wrap this up just because we're at 2 hours. We can spend 5 or 10 minutes talking about this because I think it's important. Your tournament is a baseball tournament.
Yeah, softball.
Softball. And that's because that's a huge part of your culture.
Yep.
Right? And in Guam and Saipan, like a lot of those guys become professional players, right? Isn't that like a
No, and so we're trying to get everybody to be greater at what they do.
Okay.
Now it's more of a leisure, and it involves
No. I know that like the league you guys are playing is that. Like you guys aren't trying to get to the major leagues. I'm just saying in general, the culture there is a big baseball culture, right? Okay. And so you guys host this tournament, what is it, annually?
Yeah, every Labor Day.
And it's in Vegas?
This year it's in Vegas.
So it's traveling around there.
Yeah, it goes between Vegas, Arizona, California, Idaho, and Washington, and Oregon.
Okay. And so, we decided to sponsor it just to... first and foremost, is just support you and your community out doing cool shit. And whenever people are out engaging in sports and community and camaraderie and all that stuff, like, fuck yeah, let's do that, you know? Forge Ferocity, and a lot of the guys that are part of Forge Ferocity listen to the podcast, so they'll probably get a kick out of this because I don't really know what the fuck it is. Like,
I was just about to, that was my next question. That was like my burning question. What is Forge Ferocity?
So what I have learned through the gym is something that I can do well is build culture.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily know if I had to, and it's funny because me and Adam talked about this the other day after practice, really unpacking all the little details of what is necessary to build good culture. He's like, how did you do it? What were your thought processes here? And like when you started doing this, and like had all these specific questions of building culture. And it's like, I don't know if I could sit here and give you a detailed plan on how to build culture, but at the end of the day, the way in which we're building culture here works. It works. The proof is in the pudding. And so because I get emails so often about people that are like, man, I hear you talk about your gym and I hear you talk about jiu-jitsu. I hear you talk about health and fitness, but I have nobody. I have nobody to lean on. I have nobody to be accountable to. Anytime I bring this stuff up to my circle of friends, they're very dismissive and they think it's stupid. And it made me start to realize like, oh, there's a lot of people worldwide that they have this desire inside of them to level up and become better, but they're just not immersed in the right communities to try and do so. And it's really, really difficult to try and succeed all on your own, right? So like I always say, no one's coming to save you until you're willing to save yourself. And that process, the foundational process of saving yourself is aligning yourself with people that you think bring you value. Period.
Yeah.
You literally said that like in regards to Siler's boyfriends, like a 15-year-old boy in a room full of fucking pipe hitting men. What better place for him to be? Right.
Yeah.
And so I started thinking like, what could I do to build culture online? And I know it's going to be tough because if I can't put my hands on you and we can't share face-to-face conversations and we can't share energy, is it feasible to build culture online? Because if you look at the online platforms that exist right now through X and Instagram and TikTok, bro, it's the opposite of strength. It's fucking hatred. Everybody talks shit to each other. Everybody is always being passive aggressive. Everybody's operating on a low vibration and spitting hate and fucking anger at each other. So I was like, how can I build an online platform that brings strength to people? And I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to build a platform. It's going to have a forum network where we can discuss things as a team. And I want people to join this team that bring fucking strength and curiosity and accountability and kindness and love. And don't get me wrong, you can call each other out. You can fucking have disagreements, but it's everything needs to be coming from a place of growth and concern for each other, as opposed to like everybody always having to be right all the time. That's what the whole internet is. It's not about what's best for everybody. It's about you being right. And that's why it's so fucking toxic. So I built this network, and we built this website with this like super robust forum network. And then we host 2 Zoom meetings a week. And bro, the truth is, people don't want to spend more time on screens, staring at forums, reading messages, and interacting back and forth with a typewriter. That hasn't elicited much interest in people. But sitting down with 15 people twice a week, bro, I can't tell you the amount of impact that it's had in a short period of time, because you get this group of guys together and everybody's there for one reason, is because I have sold this as a place where we are building strong culture. So if you're there, it's because you are seeking something out that you don't have in your life, and you want to have value attached to that. So if you want something that is in your life that brings additional value, then you have to pour value into it. And you have to reciprocate that with your teammates. And it's already happened. Like, I've had a lot of people already reach out to me. It was like, hey, we've only been part of this for 4 months and it's changed my fucking life. And it's like, yes, dude, that's exactly what I wanted. And it's now expanded into, like, bro, half of Forged Ferocity is coming to Guns and Keys. Literally, like half.
That's awesome, you know, because you start something and then it just translates into all the other stuff that you're doing.
Exactly, dude. And those people can come out here now and take the relationships that we've built in an online capacity and now get to nurture those in real life and share time and energy in meals and rounds with each other. Go down to the fucking river and build a fire and sit with each other and like actually transition this to real life relationships.
Yeah.
And it's kind of bizarre because it's like, there's guys in Forged Ferocity that I've never met before. Like Dave is one of them. You'll meet Dave. He'll be up here for Guns and Geese. And I already have, we already scheduled a podcast.
Where's he coming from?
Minnesota or Wisconsin. Sorry, Dave. If I don't have that right. Somewhere up there though, right?
Oh, okay.
But the thing is, he's already he's like a leader in his church's men's group, which has like 100 people in it.
Yeah.
So he is already someone that brings an immense amount of power and wisdom and perspective, but he wanted to be part of another thing where he could derive more from, right?
Yeah.
And so what I realized is like, there was a part of me is wondering, is the people that are going to be drawn to this going to be like a lot of broken people that are seeking something that they just can't find? And bro, the truth is, most of the guys that were called to be a part of this, they're already pretty strong, capable people that bring a tremendous amount of value. They just wanted to expand their network and build another ring of camaraderie and becoming cohesive with another group of people. And the proof is in the pudding. You should hop on one of the fucking calls sometime and just see it, dude.
Oh no, I'm down, you know, because I'm always seeking to enhance myself.
Yeah.
You know? And I mean, that's the reason why I showed up here. You know, like I said, I was sent here. And I've seen everything. And I know I'd asked the question of what Forged Ferocity was, but I already knew what it was because I can see it firsthand in the gym.
Yeah.
When grown-ass men walk in here and I can see the look in their face, some of them are damn near in tears.
Yeah.
Because they found something they've been longing for. And I found myself on the other side of that too. Like I was at a spot where I know I'm good. I got good head on my shoulder, but everybody around me was not reciprocating the same thing. Therefore, I started diminishing. And I'm glad that I found my way out of that and found this place. And I can imagine that's what Forged Ferocity is.
Bro, it's super powerful. And I've actually really pumped the brakes on even attempting to expand it, because what I realized, it's very similar to this gym where out of the gates I got, 20 guys, and it was the same 20 guys for a couple of years. But we all marinated in the pressure cooker together. And then as a team, we built a culture that was ready to accept a lot of people that needed this place.
Yeah.
And I was thinking the other day, I was like, it's probably going to be similar to what happens with this, where it's like
100%.
I don't need to be pushing the envelope right now, because I just said, like, part of me thought it was going to be almost like a social media platform where people were trying to help each other. And then a lot of the guys are like, bro, I fucking stare at social media enough. Like, even though everybody on this platform is cool, what's more empowering is conversating with people.
Yeah.
That's what's more empowering. And so we used to do 1 meeting a week, and now we've bumped it up to 2. There's a part of me that thinks maybe we do 3, and then the forums are there when people have questions or need them. But that's not what the network is really built around at all, because fucking it's just not interesting to people. What's interesting to people is looking at their face, feeling their emotions. And like, even though it's through Zoom, there is still a connection there that is exponentially more powerful than just characters on a Twitter post.
And I love that for the mere fact that probably most of them were not comfortable with that. So you'd have to be vulnerable just to fucking do that.
Yeah.
And then it leads you to maybe unload some things that are weighing on you.
Yep.
And hence why I say, if you want to unload something on Professor to be your counselor, like, join Forge Ferocity.
Yeah.
Because you're going to get so many different perspectives from different people in different walks of life that one of them you could really apply to yourself.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm a big proponent of our community, building our community. And most importantly, man, just the reputation part.
Yeah.
You know, you want to surround yourself with heavy hitters, like, pick up a bat yourself.
Fuck yeah, bro.
You know, but I just wanted to really make sure that my people heard that, because in our communities, there are great leaders. They have potential to be great leaders, but I think we just lack the tools, you know, or the platform to do so. And I think, like you said, you don't want to expand it, but I can surely attest that this is something that's going to grow and could possibly, maybe I have a branch of fucking Islanders that are connected to the network. And then we have a yearly fucking big powwow.
Yeah, for sure. No, like, we've already talked about that. Like, it doesn't, this year it happens to be Guns and Geese because the timing worked out. But in years to come, just like, dude, a Forge Ferocity fucking weekend at the river, where like, maybe we don't have to do a bunch of hard shit and a bunch of training. It's just like a fucking, everybody gets together and just spends time together and gets to know each other on a different level. Like that type of stuff, you know?
Just to shake the hand of the person that I've been looking at on Zoom.
Yeah.
You know, and that, I think that's going to resonate a lot with my community. And this is the perfect setting that we're walking into, because like I said, it started as a softball tournament and now it's like a reunion.
Yeah.
So there's more teams because more people want to get involved. But at the same time, there's more people that use it as a reunion joint, like that yearly, hey, we're going to meet up at Labor Day.
People want to be part of things, dude. Yeah. And one thing that I always emphasize on is because, like, this Electric North Jiu-Jitsu, I built it and I was part of setting the foundational culture. But if we're being completely honest, this place is bigger than me, right? Like, I could walk away and you could step in and this place will continue to fucking enrich everybody's lives in the community. And sure, there might be a little bit of a shift in culture because, like, we're all different people. We bring different strengths and weaknesses. But Electric Jiu-Jitsu is not me. Electric Jiu-Jitsu is this team. And that's never lost on me.
Yeah.
But the reason that I always like to shine a spotlight on that is because it's important to know that it's like, I don't want to be a fucking cult leader. I don't want to be the guy that's like in charge, in front. It's always in the spotlight. Everything's about me. Like, I think it's important for a strong community of people to start to have a lot of different leaders that can step in and be the leader when they need to be, and then sometimes step back and be a follower when they need to be. And we're seeing that here now.
Yeah.
We're seeing it here with the Parker brothers out there right now. Yeah. Like, they lead a lot of people down a very powerful path of jiu-jitsu with what you're doing with the kids, with what Daniel's doing with no-gi. And what I'm looking at with Forge Ferocity is the same thing. Like, there's a lot of people in there that just inherently hold a lot of strong leadership capabilities, and they're already using those and sharing those. And people aren't afraid to step up and be like, hey, you know what? I think I would like to talk about today is this. And they have like, they're already like taking lead and directing the conversations, asking hard questions to people. And it's like, that's exactly what it needs to be about.
Yeah.
Because what that's doing is it's developing leaders from a place where it's like, I may have built the platform, but it's developing leaders that can then branch out and have that spider web effect, and then continues to work like that, you know? And then the other thing that's important to remember is I've said it on the show often, if you're looking around the room, looking for a guy that's going to give you guidance, a guy that's going to give you answers, a guy that's going to guide your life in the right direction, and you aren't finding him, it's because that motherfucker's you.
Yeah.
Like, you need to step up and be that person. And you'll be surprised how you take some small steps to try and bring value to people's lives. Bro, a lot of people are ready to receive that.
Yeah.
And so if there's a part of you that thinks, oh, maybe I should be that person, or I should try and be that person, then you need to be that fucking person. And it needs to start now. And the more people that step up and start to take, and I'm not saying that we're all going to become fucking Tony Robbins, right? But if you can step up and be someone that encourages and inspires people, even on a micro level, right?
Yeah.
You get your buddies you get your fucking homie to stop drinking fucking Pepsi, right? Like little things like that, when you start to compound them, they start to matter.
Yeah.
And those little micro leadership opportunities, seize them. And then you can help people become better. And then, bro, like, there is the potential. And I go back and forth on this because it's like there's a part of me that looks at society and thinks it's hopeless. And then there's a part of me that looks at it as like, unless we do this.
Yeah.
And this is the only path out of the downhill spiral that society is in, is for us to start to try and change as an individual first, and then try and help people along the way. And it can be 1 or 2 or 3 or 10. But if everybody does that, that ripple effect sooner or later is going to touch everybody in the fucking country, and then everybody in the world. And I think we could do it, bro.
Oh, 100%. You know, we could definitely shift, right? Like, I'm not going to put it past, I'd be remiss to say that whatever success that I do gain or not gain from what I'm doing now, I think for me, it's more important that I get to share that with my people.
Yeah.
Because it might be their success or the thing that's going to change their trajectory. Like, I think I serve a greater purpose.
Yeah.
Like, am I going to gain something from it? Of course I'm going to. But maybe the next billionaire is somewhere down the line of where we shift right now.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just the matter of, one, like I said, I like to speak on being vulnerable, because a lot of our people are very timid. And then you got to put yourself in our shoe, right? Like, we come from a very far away place, and then it's a whole different culture that doesn't match ours or understands our culture. And we know what we know, and we're trying to interject that, but we're trying to do it respectfully, and then also like show pride. And then in some cases too, it becomes too much, right? So that's why we decided to speak up. I find myself with an accountability group that I've started, kind of doing the same thing. But I think I'm going to take your word for it, like what Mama said, and give them the space, but not, you know,
not carry that fucking burden for them. Yeah.
Because we all need that. And like, my people really need that. I think we're at the point where we've gone too far to keep doing the same shit and expect different results.
Yeah.
By trying to medicate shit with modern medicine. And no, it's fixed. Let's go back to the basics. And we just got to immerse ourselves in doing hard shit and seeking people that are doing hard shit as well. And then really looking into force ferocity. It's something that I'm really intrigued by. And I think I'm going to have to immerse myself, because it's going to be part of the vessel that me and the boys could use to fucking pick people up along the way.
Hop on board. You can be the leader of the Brown chapter.
I'm down.
We can start segregating our members based on where they're from.
You know, DEI.
Yeah, my DEI forged ferocity.
We know how that works. But no, it's been awesome. So, you know, I just wanted to do this, especially with you, not only want to get the podcast back up and going. But also, I wanted to sequence it with going to the tournament and really highlight, your involvement in my softball team, and then also really get the people to know who you are, what you've done, and how humble you are about everything that you've done. And they can listen to your podcast, get more insight on different people that you've interviewed. Because everybody that you've interviewed, people get affected with those type of people. You got druggies, you get people that grew up, in hardship.
Yeah.
And there's everybody that gets affected by that. And they can find healing in any of those. And I'm a big supporter of the podcast because of that.
And bro, the thing about the podcast that's still surprising to me is like, you never know what's going to hit.
Yeah.
Right? Angie's episode fucking went gangbusters.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how a female's perspective on being in an abusive relationship, like my audience is primarily male. So I was like, I don't know if that's going to hit real hard or not. Not that I record based on downloads, but at the same time, I am cognizant of trying to bring the people that consume this podcast value, right?
Yeah.
Bro, that hit so hard because so many people have been part of an abusive household. Not just like from the female perspective, but they were the little boys watching their mom and dad go through that.
Yeah.
Or their wife went through that with her previous relationship. I had one guy tell me that. He goes, it helped me understand where my wife came from. Because she's told me these things before, but the way in which Ange unpacked it helped me understand her perspective on a much deeper level.
Just gain more clarity.
Yeah, and bro, that's the thing. So you never know what message needs to be received from people. So that's why I try and just bounce all over the place and always put out the message is consistent in the fact that it's about leveling up and trying to be better. But the capacity in which that happens can be from so many different avenues. So let's fucking explore them all, Yeah.
And it's funny you mentioned that because that one in particular really hit me too. Because I grew up in such a household of domestic violence.
Yeah, a lot of guys did that. I didn't realize it's as prevalent as it was until that episode, man.
And a lot of people ask me like, why are you the way you are? Why are you so cool? Why are you so calm? I've seen violence. So I know I can do violence.
Uh-huh.
And I can feel like if I get triggered, like I get really violent. That's why I go to the point of scaring myself to where I just walk away. Because I know what I'm capable of and how it looks like, what it smells like. Like I know all of that. That's why I'm very cool and I befriend everybody. Like everybody, I love everybody. When I say that, I mean that. Because there's fighting and there's a time for fighting. Until then, we're not. Because when it's time to fight, there's really something wrong.
Yeah.
So we're going to keep getting stronger. And if the world decides that the apocalypse is going to start tomorrow, I'm fucking all in. I am
all
game.
in too, bro.
I am game. I have a hit list. I don't care if I die after I clear my list. I'm good.
All right. We'll combine our lists.
Yeah.
Because I got one too.
But
that's the dichotomy of being a man, right? Yeah. It's like we sit here and we preach love and acceptance and vulnerability and power and leveling up. But there's also a dark side to each one of us.
Oh yeah.
It's real and it's also necessary. And don't ever stamp that side of you out either, because you don't know when you're going to need to lean on that side of you.
Yeah.
Just can have control over that side of you. And bro, I'm the first to admit that I don't have 100% control over it.
Yeah.
I have much better control than I used to.
I can tell. But, and most of it, Professor, too, man, it's not always about killing. Like the joy that I'm going to have when that time comes is just kicking like my old boss's door down. And just him looking at me, and I'm not even going to touch him. I just want to see him scared. Like, what the fuck are you doing here? Like, you know what I'm doing here?
Yeah.
I'm here to take your wife and your kids. They're part of our community now.
They're mine now, bitch.
Yeah.
And guess what? There ain't a motherfucking thing you can do about it.
Roger that.
All right. Well, we'll end it on that. We're at 2:23.
Yes, sir.
Oh, unless you want, I forgot. You're the host today. I'm just hanging out.
You're good. I just want to thank you as always. This is not going to be the last one. There's going to be many more to come.
Fuck yeah, dude.
I really advise, my people on, really digging deep into themselves. And if they find great, content in your podcast, please join Forge Ferocity. I'll be in there. I'm gonna be a big proponent of that come Labor Day. I'm gonna be pushing that heavy because it's not what I want, it's what's required.
And if the apocalypse happens, hide your kids, hide your wives, and hide your husbands too, because Will's coming for everybody up in there.
Roger that. Is there anything that you wanted me to ask you that I did not ask you?
No, that's good, bro.
Roger
like
that.
This is how how I like to roll on these. We just sit down and I don't have a list. You had a list today, but I just fucking sit here and see where it goes.
Yeah, so I had a bullet point list, but it's everything that we talked about. I just wanted to have a list just to make sure that I can keep interjecting where we need to interject. But for the most part, I try not to overthink it. I don't know why. I think I heard myself repeating myself. That's why I stopped.
And you're like, oh, fuck, dude, I fucked up. We might just leave that in there.
I'm down with that because you actually motivated me to start a podcast because I have a different set of demographic.
Yeah.
And one thing that I really appreciated and I learned from you a lot was organic.
Yeah, no editing.
No editing.
Because, bro, as soon as you start cutting out this or adding in that, now I just feel like the message is getting a little inauthentic, right? Now that was just a stutter, so that's not changing the verbiage or changing the message, right? So whatever. But I think for me, it also becomes psychologically easier when I know that I don't edit. I don't give myself an option of editing.
Yeah.
Fuck, dude. If I have one of those moments, it goes out on the air.
Yeah.
And because I think that helps me make those happen less and less likely, because I know, hey, if you fuck up, it goes out on the air, and that's part of the show.
And I feel great, even if we didn't edit that. I think if we didn't edit that, I'll make that a reel, only because I spoke a lot about vulnerability.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
And a lot of my people want to say what they want to say, but they're afraid to say it because they want to think they have to be correct.
Because it might be they're afraid that that's going to come across wrong, or they're going to slip here or stutter there, and it's like, dude.
And I think
every single person consuming this show could start a podcast tomorrow and articulate your thoughts, your ideas, and your perspectives better than the sitting president of the United States. So you got nothing to worry about.
And he's reading off a fucking teleprompter.
Last thing I'll say, and then I'm gonna push stop on this, is I'm telling you, bro, your podcast is important because you do reach a different demographic of people. Decide on how consistent you want to be and hold yourself to that standard no matter what, bro.
Yeah.
And that it could be every other week. It could be once every 10 days. I find that a weekly drop is probably easiest because people know Thursday morning, I'm fucking hopping on board the Endless Endeavor.
Yeah.
And that's what starts to build your listener base. But as soon as you fall off the wagon, bro, there's a million other shows to consume. You just get washed downstream, you know?
Yes. And that's the project now. So I'm going to choose a timing and we're going to run that cadence.
Yeah. So, all right, bro. That's all I got. You good?
Alrighty. Yes, sir.